dog if you want him.
Is this all driving you batshit crazy yet?
No, she's absolutely freaking lovely, but she's now sleeping on the bed. And so,
dude, like you think a dog's not going to do that though? Like that's what they do. That's why you get a dog.
More attention from my dog's mouth, shall we say, than my wife at this point. I'm like, I wake up like from my erotic dreams with a mutt in my face. Like,
you don't have to excuse yourself. You can actually cuss all you want on the show.
That's right. I'm not.
That's right. I mean, this is fucking YouTube. They might like demonetize me, but I don't care because we actually make our money from the audience, not from YouTube.
I swore on Tech Bandits the other day, and I felt so bad. Like I was
I've slipped before, yeah.
Oh my God, it's just, I mean, in front of the kid all the time. I mean, I think Jane swears more than I do, but and Baz is taking it up now. I'm just scared he's going to do it by accident now. Like he's going to.
Oh man, Xander, my son did a weird one the other day. I mean, it wasn't even really that bad of a word, but it was bad coming from him.
Right.
He came in and literally accidentally said "damn it" instead of "darn it," and I just started busting up laughing because he caught himself as soon as he did. He goes "damn it," and then he goes darn it, like. Oh, I hope they didn't hear that. And I just started busting up laughing.
That's his extreme. Oh, you're lucky, man. Jesus.
He slipped up and he said the S word. Well, he said shit a couple of times too. And I'm like, hey, and he's like,
we're like so careful.
I know.
Like, you know what? We're scared that Aux might be listening.
That is true. That is true. Oh, just to let you guys know, I should probably let everybody know. AuxxZillary quit the show because he said the pay wasn't good enough, so I got a cheaper co-host.
So I got you. You got the Canadian. The Canadians are always cheaper. They're way cheaper.
Yeah, they don't have a Screen Actors Guild up there, so man, I really gave them the shaft hard, eh?
Man, you pay me like $10. That's like 1,000 Canadian. Yeah. And
I don't know, man. With the way things are going with the world economy in the United States right now, I'm pretty sure the Canadian dollar is going to come out on top at some point.
You'd think, but I think I'm convinced there's a concerted effort to keep the Canadian dollar low because it's the only reason why there's filming happening up here.
You guys would have to adjust all your gas prices if that happened though, because like your gas is like $90 billion per liter, and I'm like,
well, they tax the crap out of it, right? So
dude, the first time I came to Canada, like no kidding, the first time I came to Canada wasn't even like 3 years ago. Like I'm not a very well traveled person. Right. And so I go across the Canadian border. I'm looking at the gas. I'm like, wow, man, their gas is like $1 cheaper up here. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. And I pull into the gas station and start fueling up my car. And I'm like, man, these pumps are so damn fast because the numbers just go. And I'm like, why is my car holding $100?
Yeah, and it keeps going. It's like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 worth of liters. Yeah,
I was like, but the thing is, you drive around like Vancouver, and it's like every third car is like a Porsche 911 Turbo or a Lamborghini, and I'm like. Okay, maybe they can afford the fuel because they can afford the car, but I'm like, my God, like that is the worst place. Yeah, isn't that the worst place to own a supercar though? Like, is there any place where
I drove an Echo the entire time I was doing Stargate? I drove a Toyota Echo.
That's true. You said you're not really a car guy, are you?
Yeah, I don't think I ever had to fuel up that car. I think it's possible I went the entire 5 seasons never filling up my Toyota Echo.
Oh, by the way, I want to tell everybody too. You see that little graphic on the screen right there? It looks like it was drawn with crayon by like a 3-year-old. It says thetechbandits.com. Yeah, go there. Go there and bookmark that page because David Hewlett's starving. Like if we don't support him and go do his Tech Bandits and stuff, he's gonna have to like I don't know like send his kid to China to build iPhones or something. So let's go ahead and show some love. Hey, Doctor,
thank you. Away. I'll keep him here. You can make his iPhones here. Damn
it. Yeah, actually, why even send him to China? Right? You can stiff him right here. Yeah, actually, as a parent, that's one of the things we can do, right? Is we can just bypass all the labor laws instantly because we can just say it's chores.
Well, yeah, can't we? I just figured we could just like child labor, just get him like doing a YouTube channel. I'll just scare the crap out of him at random times.
Yeah, be like, you cannot have dinner until you stream for 3 hours and get at least 20 super chats.
Wasn't there there was a family that got nailed for that, wasn't it? Who were like just basically scaring the crap out of their child for.
Yes, and I knew exactly who you were talking about right as soon as you said that. Yeah, the guy that would just like run in and just scream at his kids and like put them through like freaking trauma for like jump scare events in his vlog, and I was like, dude.
I've never liked pranks. Pranks just seems like the lowest form because it's not even pranks aren't even comedy. They're just mean. There's just a meanness to it. I prefer, there's some elevated ones, I suppose, but generally we don't even like the prank shows. We're not even.
You wouldn't like me in real life then, because I terrorize my son. Like literally, he's gonna have phobias when he's older, because I'll just poke my head in the room while he's playing with his Legos, and it's like perfectly quiet, and I'll be like, Sander, and he'll like jump off the floor and like bounce off 2 things in the room, and he's like, Dad, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
and then I just walk away.
I mean, I do that, but that's not pranks. That's parenting.
That is true. That's just good parenting right there.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Now I've got the straight. Now I've got the little chat up.
Oh, we got Miss Liz in the house moderating, so she'll kick all the trolls square in the nuts.
The Hammer. I have Cal.
Yeah.
Cal the Hammer. I call her. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's got old Mjolnir for balls. She'll take them all out.
Really?
Yeah, she's good. She's good. Hey, doctor, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the $5. You said in the Middle East, so can't listen live, but enjoy the great show. Oh, so he can't even hear us in the Middle East, but he can super chat? Well, way to go, YouTube.
He's just imagining how amazing the show is.
He is. He's like just sitting there with like a bookmark and like a chat. And he's like, I bet you it's pretty good. I'm gonna.
You should text him back and say like, oh my god, I can't believe you're missing this.
I'm gonna just in case he can't see it. Let's see, what is it? D at D. God, he's got a. Oh, it worked. Okay, thank you. Sorry, you can't watch. Get NordVPN.
Hey, what is a sec? Have I asked this before?
What is it? Oh, a sec. Oh, sec. That we call them sexes here, sir. We put an S on there because it sounds better.
But is that your currency?
No. Ours is USD. So sex would be.
No. I meant like, is it like your Bitcoin or something? Is it like some kind of?
No. It's a real money. I think it's like Scandinavian crown or something like that.
Is it really? Oh my god, I didn't know.
Swedish crown. It's a Swedish crown.
Oh man, I want to go to Sweden.
So those 200 sexes, I think, is like $5. I think.
I want to go to like every single country up there. I don't even like the cold. I just like every single person I've met from that area of the world.
Whoa, that was $21?
Was it?
I don't think he checked the exchange rate before he tipped that. He might want that back. Ooh. Andreas, did you know that was $21 our money? That's a big ass tip. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the big ass tip. Didn't even hurt a little.
He just tipped Aux's movers.
He did. You know, oh man, this is funny. I got to say this just in case AuxZillary is listening right now. The one show where you came on and you co-hosted with me when Aux was gone last time, right. A bunch of people, like some whales just came in. Like one guy tipped like $500.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
And I was just like, I called right after the show. I called up AuxZillary. Said, dude, no, we're still splitting it even though you're not on the show. You're regularly a co-host.
Oh yeah.
You have a good reason for being gone. We're splitting it no matter what. Same goes for the show. Yeah, but it was funny because he messaged me back and he's like, dude, I feel bad. He's like, you literally made like 10 times as much on the one show I wasn't there. He's like, am I the problem? I was like, no. Like, oh my God, please don't leave. Please don't leave.
No, please God, don't leave. No.
So I thought that was kind of funny. I know he was like mostly joking, but I was like, when we saw those tips coming in, I was like, oh God, I hope that he doesn't think, one, I'm not going to split it with him. And two, I really hope that he doesn't think it's because he's not here. Because that has like nothing to do with it.
I think people just like things when they get mixed up a bit. They'll get bored of me very quickly. I'm already the guest who won't leave, right?
Well, I mean, I tried to get like 3 people before you on last minute, but they're like, ew.
Exactly. Oh, shut up. I know Hewlett's doing nothing.
My reputation's preceded me everywhere. I'm like, hey, you guys want to come on Tech Talk? No! You're the guy that says all the bad things on Twitch that make kids cry.
Things come back to you. It's the Hewlett effect. I like that. The Hewlett effect is the Hewlett effect is twofold. It's at first everyone's really excited, and then it's like, he still hasn't gone. You wait. The big money comes when they start paying me to leave.
That'd be funny. I just start getting tips or whatever. It's like, could you please disable Hewlett's camera? Can you just turn him off?
Shut him up.
This is horse shit, dude. This is horse shit.
Even just the audio. Just turn off the audio at least. Just that.
Hey, Joy. Thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate that. I'm still confused by the subscribe thing on YouTube. So is that the channel? That's the channel member thing, right?
Yeah, I think so, isn't it?
So so you can see the community feed where you post I think I know what it is. So yeah, if you join the channel, I think, what is it, that box you click is like $4.99 or something. Everybody's copying everybody because like Twitch does that. Like Twitch did that first with the subscribes, then YouTube stole that. Then I feel like Twitch YouTube stole super chats too. Because that's basically like the Twitch equivalent, right, of bits.
I thought YouTube started it first.
Did they? I don't know. Does anybody really know?
Super chat. I remember an announcement about super chat, but then again, I wasn't a big Twitcher at that point. It was probably a couple of years ago or a year ago. So.
Do you ever feel like all the different technologies that used to compete are just kind of all homologating together into one?
That's what I'm worried about. Like I keep saying to Baz, it's like, look, I know you want to be a Twitch streamer when you grow up, but I said there may not be Twitch when you grow up.
There won't be.
You just don't know.
I would bet money there won't be because I've never seen a platform survive more than like maybe like 12 years, 10 or 12 years. So it might be around like when he's, in his late teens. But as far as like lifetime, no, because what always happens, and this is like, I think there should be a law. Let me know in chat if there's a law governing this. But it seems to me like every single company that hits an apex where they own their industry, they basically get super complacent. They stop developing, they stop innovating, and then they start making all the mistakes of the previous generation. Like Facebook is doing exactly what MySpace did that killed it. Which
it's
is just
innovative
ads,
dilemma, right?
Yeah, ads everywhere. Fuck with people's feeds, so people only see the stuff that gets them mad, makes them engage because they can sell ads for more. And you eventually hit this turning point where it's like people get upset, and then another company like a Viper just comes in and snaps and goes, "Oh, we're what Facebook used to be." Right? So you always have the next company come in that's and same thing with Windows Mobile Phone. Like Microsoft had a smartphone like what, 10 years before Apple, and they got to well, I mean, back in the day it was actually pretty cool. I had and again, I drink the Kool-Aid because I worked there, but I had a Windows Mobile 6 phone from HTC like way back in the day that had like you could slip the screen to the side and it had a full keyboard on it, and this is like way before iPhone, right? And it had Windows Mobile 6 on it, which was basically like Windows 3.1. It was like Windows 3.1 for a mobile phone. It even looked like it. Like they even used the graphics from Windows 3.1. And
you had to use the stylus.
Yes, you had to use exactly. There was no like I only ever had one that had a touch screen, and it wasn't like capacitive touch. It was like you had to like dig your fingernail into it. And
clawing your way through Windows.
I loved it, but Microsoft kept the same Windows 6 for like I want to say 3 years. They just kept like adding some features to it, but they never innovated. It was still the same piece of shit 3 years later, but we thought it was great.
That new one. That new one looks good.
The new one's good.
That? The new flip?
Oh, the
it's like a dual screen. It just seems kind of. It looks like a little book. Like
you're talking about the Android phones, the Android flips, right? Yeah, those are pretty slick. I don't think I'll get one,
but apparently it's not a folding screen. So it's not that stupid like.
The Duo. You're talking about the Duo.
The Duo, that's it.
Yeah, where it's like it opens up like a notebook and it's two separate screens.
But it runs Android.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Microsoft is trying. I've been predicting this for years and it's coming to fruition. I said Microsoft is sick of having a proprietary operating system. It's why they went to .NET Core. It's why they're trying to do cross-platform development. It's why they're pumping money into open source and Linux and buying Git. Everything points to them trying to get out of the OS game as far as building the core, right? They want the foundation done by somebody else. So now you have the Surface Pro X shipping with an ARM version of Windows 10. Right. So the Surface Pro X tablet ships with an ARM version of Windows 10. You can't tell just by looking at it. Like you just can't run 64-bit or 32-bit x86 software. You have to run ARM software from the store. Right. And I was like, okay, well, they tried that experiment and it failed miserably in Windows 8, but apparently it's selling pretty good with Windows 10. Like the marketplace is just good enough that people tolerate it. And Adobe's now porting their products over to work on ARM, both for Apple and presumably for the Surface Pro X. So Microsoft's heading towards ARM just like Apple is, right? And then you have all the mobile devices already use ARM. So if you get the desktop to use ARM, now you have parity and you can use the same binaries across all the platforms.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. I mean, they have an Android version of the operating system, right, for their little Duo. And I'd imagine the reason
that dual screen, it's beautiful. Like it sounds like it. I mean, from what I've seen, I haven't got it, but
and I think that it can run Android marketplace software, right? I mean, the whole point of making an Android foundation was so that you could run Android software on it, I'd guess. And Java runs everywhere, so like a lot of stuff that's written for the Android platform is like Java and .NET Core and Python and like other cross-platform languages. So it's like all the compiled code should run everywhere as long as the dependencies are there.
Is there like a Linux phone?
What's that?
Is there like an open source Linux phone of some sort?
There was. Does anybody in chat remember the name? There was a modular phone that they built that ran like it was still a custom version though. Like they took the Linux kernel and they built on top of it, so it wasn't quite Android. But I can't remember. It failed though miserably. Like it was a modular phone where you had to like put the camera module on it. You had to put the storage module on it. Like you literally built it like Legos. It was
like a Lego phone. Yeah. Wait a second. I didn't know that Android was based on Linux as well.
Oh, it is. It is. It's
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So Android was an offshoot of. It was either Linux or it might have been a direct offshoot of Unix. Somebody can tell me in chat here.
Right.
But it was definitely one of the Nix offshoots for sure.
£10, dude. Someone just gave you £10. That's like real freaking British money. That's like my homeland.
Oh, I guess AuxxZillary was right. All right, Aux, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to find another live stream, buddy. Sorry, you're gonna have to put you out to pasture. You just bought You just bought a house too. So
knowing that it was British money, it's probably your first request for me to leave.
Let's
£10 to leave.
Let's find out. Let me blow it up full screen so I can see it over here. Let's see here. Oh no, that was from Ian Scott Johnston. Thank you for the £10. He said, "Love tech talk. Great subject matter every time." I don't know about every time, but we try.
Yeah,
we work hard here 10 minutes before the show to come up with random things to put in the title.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, and you always know exactly where we're going with it. We always stay completely on track.
Hey, ADHD is a superpower if you wield it properly. If you don't, it's a curse. It is. It is. Everything, all the amazing things that I did in my life. Well, I won't say all, but like most of the amazing things I did in my life was when I was unmedicated, ADHD. I hit a point where I had to become medicated because I had too many distractions. And with ADHD, you can't have any distractions. You basically have to be like stuck in a room and have one thing that flashes that you focus on, but then you can focus on it forever. Yeah. Like you don't have to eat. You won't even go to the bathroom at some point.
Well, that's the fallacy, isn't it? ADHD, everyone assumes it means you can't pay attention. In some cases, you can't stop.
Yeah, it's hyperattention. Like you cannot. Yeah. And the other problem with it is like right before you go to bed, and I still have this problem because the medication wears off by then, is I can't stop thinking. I literally go to sleep, but my brain just in loops processing stupid stuff that makes no sense. So
that's why I drank. I used to drink to sort of, as I said, to calm the voices.
You're like, die, brain, die.
But that was it. That was absolutely it. It makes it. What actually works really well is exercise. I find you just get so tired that you just can't even
get drunk or exercise. Which one of those sounds way funner?
I know. I made the wrong choice. I'm doing freaking yoga instead of drinking a bottle of scotch. I totally chose the wrong thing.
Oh, dude, Corey Gibson, thank you for that $5 super chat. He said you should 3D print David a ZPM. Sir, yeah. would you like a ZPM? I will 3D print.
Well, it's going to be a 3D printer that I have to freaking build. I'm so embarrassed.
Which one do you have? Uh-oh, we're losing him. We're losing him, folks. Hold on here. Okay, my connection is good, so it's got to be on his side. Stand by. Hold on here. Oh, there we go. You're back. You've been gone for like about 30 seconds, but now you're back. It looks like it reconnected. You probably just had a router or something go down between us and it rerouted.
Huh, okay.
I think you're good. Okay, back to the ZPN.
Streaming 10 different things.
You said you got a new printer. What printer is it? The bigger one?
It's the Mark, whatever it is, the latest Mark one with multi-filament.
Oh, yeah, the Prusa. So,
yeah.
But here's the thing. I have printers that can print a ZPM in one go. A full-size one.
Oh, all right. Fine.
So, I got a CNC Artemis that can print, I think, like almost like 2 feet tall, 1.5 2 feet tall. And I also got a Raise 3D that can do about 2 feet tall. I mean, it's big. It's like the size of like a half a refrigerator. So,
except it would cost you the price of the freaking printer to send it to Canada with all the freaking duties and all that stuff.
That actually is true. That is true.
It's ridiculous.
So what we need to do is we need to find you a ZPM model, which I'm sure there's like a million of them on Thingiverse. And then what you need to do is split it up with NetFab into quadrants and then print that out and glue it together and then give it a nice little spiffy paint job and you could have a ZPM, sir.
That's I think, and I want to get some nice material for it too. I actually also, I'm looking for recommendations for flexible printing material. Like I'd like to do
I don't have a lot of experience with flexible printing materials because until recently I've never had a printer that can print them because you want one that's a direct feed on top of the nozzle like the Prusas are. Because if you use a Bowden tube and you feed from this, it compresses the filament and you just never get a good quality print with flexible filaments. Like I tried printing NinjaFlex because I wanted to make shoes once and I failed every single print I ever attempted. Even when I was even using silicone oil to like lubricate the tube and stuff. I could never get it to print reliably ever. So, but
I'll have to bug my 3D printer, folks.
Yeah, I'd say what other than NinjaFlex, I know that there's like 20 of them now. There's even one that's foam. Have you seen the foam one? You can 3D print foam now. Like the filament comes out and it expands, like flash expands like twice its size as it's cooling down. So you can't print as you can't print as fine of detail, but you end up with a product that's like literally like it's foam. Like you could cut it with a wire, like a hot wire.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't tried it yet, but it looks awesome. I really, really want to give it a try. And the flexible filaments like NinjaFlex, they're indestructible, dude.
I just want to do some mask stuff for Halloween because I don't think the kid's gonna get out.
So NinjaFlex is like a little bit of a stiffer silicone.
EVA foam.
So
is that what it's called?
What's EVA foam? Oh, EVA. Yeah.
The stuff that you put like around windows and stuff.
Yeah, it's literally like cosplayers use it more than any other substance on Earth. And it's basically that stuff that you put on like the floor in your garage. You know those panels?
That's what that is. Oh, yeah. I thought they were talking about the stuff you sprayed around the windows for insulation. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put that on my kid's face.
There are some people.
Hey, Baz, hold still.
just hit it.
Oh, it's not coming off.
Just 3D print a cutout template and just like put it over his face and spray him, and it just expands, and you're good. And then you go to the emergency room and say, well, that's a mulligan.
Because that's the foam they used to use in all the visual effects shots back in the 80s, right? They used to use that. I don't know if it was not specifically that stuff, but it was the foaming stuff you put in, and it would just fill up in the mold, and you
yeah. Is that? Wait a second, I might be wrong. Is that EVA foam also the spray foam that you put in like the walls? Because I just used some of that like last year to fill a hole in my wall where I installed some ventilation fans. And awesome. I remember spraying way too much into the wall, and it started bowing the wall out a little bit. And I was like, oh no, is it going to break through the drywall? But luckily it worked its way up and like spit out of the hole. But I thought I was going to break it.
I've got electricians who laugh whenever they come to look at our house for any electrical work, because I spray foamed around the electrical panel because it has direct access outside, and it was kind of cold. But I filled it in I used so much stuff. It's like there's like this foam. It looks like a wraith ship. There's like all the foam has come in and surrounded the panel. You have to sort of like move some of the foam to get to some of the switches and stuff. I've got so much stuff in there.
Please tell me that foam is not flammable. I want to say it is. I really hope it's not flammable though.
It can't be, can it? I mean, it's like it can't be. Oh man.
Oh God, if it is, dude, I would. Yeah, don't let the fire marshal in your house. I don't know what your laws are like up there in Canadian land.
You know, I hadn't thought of that, but I was just always assuming that if they wanted, if they allowed in your walls, it's got to be. It's not.
Actually, that's a good point, because it is used as like a wall insulation. So, and there are wires running through the wall, so you make a solid point there. Like they wouldn't allow that if like an arcing wire in a wall just caught fire like thermite.
I guess I could check, but that would be really boring for people, is watching me walk away and look inside.
You're like, guys, just hold on for 5 minutes. I gotta go read the bottle.
Although, wait a second, I'm rigged up to the black magic. I can actually change cameras. I think
you can. Give it a try.
I can't. Wait a second, but then I have to. Okay, now this is where I hang up on everybody. Generally,
that's okay. You just call back. That's that easy.
All right. Okay. Oh, that's right. What am I saying? It's not my stream. What do I care?
We don't have standards here, buddy. You're good.
Yeah, God, that's right. I forgot. I thought we were working at my level of standards.
Holy shit, man! Somebody just super chatted. Somebody just super chatted $25. Another 10 pounds. Oh my God, another $10.
Awesome. I'm so sorry.
You know what? Houston's just never going to show up for work again. Like AuxxZillary, he's never going to show up for work again because he's like, I make more money not being there.
He's why I'm here. I don't want to talk to you.
Try that camera switch and see if it works. Robert, thank you for the $25. He said, Barna Hewlett for the win. Oh, we're getting one of those married names. Awesome.
Oh God, already?
You two are awesome and to watch and listen to. Thank you for the amazing ear and sexy eye candy. All right, Robert.
Whoa, hey, what the heck?
Hey, Robert, I'll take whatever I can get, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm at least 13.5% gay, so it's all good, dude. Bring it on.
And I'm an actor, so we're up for anything.
That's right. Actually, he's flexible depending on the situation and money involved.
Completely flexible. Yeah, that's right. I think the word is whore you're looking for.
Hey, I've established a long time ago that anybody that streams on the internet for money, we are all whores, sir. Yeah, we are all whores.
It's like the oldest profession, right?
It is literally
actor and prostitute.
Like if aliens looked at us externally, just like the handshake and sex, they would look at us and be like, live streaming is no different than any of those acts. You are doing something to appease people. Oh wow, look at this. There's those. Those are EVA foam tiles, right?
That's my overhead. Yeah.
So dude, what is hanging from your ceiling there? You have like some kind of like Nintendo controller. What is this?
Sorry. That's so I can move the camera.
Wow, look at this. So we got a RoboCam.
It's my RoboCam. So basically, I just stuck it to
You're making me miss Dexter.
Yeah, that's
cool.
There you go. So you get a full nice 360.
I like how it sounds like a chainsaw out in the woods.
Oh my God, yeah. No, it's just using DC. It's DC motors. Like it's
Wait, go back. Go back a little ways. What are all those robots you got up there on that shelf, dude?
Oh, so those are the easy robots. Those are what I use with the kids, just to they can program them, they can pull them apart, they break them a lot, they dress them up.
Holy cow! Like you have a ton of them.
They build dresses for them. I like this one. I did this one because I was watching Mad Max.
Dude, that is cool.
Yeah, I mean the kids did some of it, but I was like, hey, you can have hair.
Do you do like robot wars with them, like or sumo, where you knock them out of the ring?
Well, this is the thing. So I was working with a bunch of with an educational place, and they were like, is there anything you can do with robots that don't involve them fighting each other? Because apparently everyone does robot fighting, and they're worried that it's not the right thing for the kids.
Is there another thing to build a robot for, though, like realistically? Like the only thing I can think of is to have them fight to the death. We've all seen Terminator.
You know what I did? I did capture the flag, which is kind of fun. Because they have to go and find the flag, and then, can I change it back now?
Look, you even get like a nice like pan effect. Look at that.
Is that
or
look at
dissolve?
that.
That's like a dissolve, man.
So this is this. Well, can I do this without wrecking the entire stream?
Can you point the RoboCam at it?
Yeah.
Like switch the RoboCam and point it at
I
it.
might be able to. Let me see if I can RoboCam it. Okay, hang on a second. All right. Oh, I just stepped on my cam. Oh, I hit myself in the face. This is great. It's going great.
You got to switch this to RoboCam though.
All right.
Here we go.
It may be upside down. Oh no, that's not the right one. How about that?
Dude, it reminds me of those Radio Shack arms. You know, like when...
It really is. Like, basically, that's what it is.
That's cool.
It's
that
about
is really
that
cool.
level of. There you go. See it?
Oh, you got to switch this to that camera.
Oh yeah, shoot right.
You got to push the button. Okay, there it is. Oh, we can see it.
So there you go. So that it's this little.
Man, that's small. I was expecting that to be like huge.
But it does the streaming as well, right? So
yeah.
It does. So you got your Ethernet. You've got 4 HDMI ports.
Yep.
You have a monitor port. So I've got a little camera here that just shows me what I'm doing. It's taken me forever to figure it out because I've also got, I know what you can see. Yeah. So I've got the Zoom recorder, which is what I'm talking into right now, and beautiful cable management.
Yeah, those. I know that's my cable management right there.
But I don't know what else to do because you have so many cables, and then I've got a little microscope, USB microscope over here, so they can see. Awesome. I could switch to that as well if I wanted to.
Yeah, the Zoom recorders work really, really well as audio interfaces. Like oh
my god, they're great.
I have a proper mixer board now for like having a fixed scenario, but before that I used the Zoom for everything. People don't realize you can take that thing, just plug it in via USB, and it just becomes a sound card.
And then look, there's that's the USB cam.
So you can actually just like zoom in on electronics and stuff.
Yeah,
dude,
go like, oh look at this bug. So what I'll do is if I find a bug or something one day, I just go and I grab it, and the kids go, "Oh God, why did you touch that?" And my wife says the same thing. But
which microscope is that? Because I have one of those little USB microscopes, and it has like the worst resolution and color saturation. That thing looks like it's professional.
This is the Celestron Micro Direct. This is why I beg for money, because during the pandemic, I wanted to like make it a little more exciting, and so any of the money I got, I was like buying just little things to keep the kids interested. Like I got a bunch of microscope slides, so I could do like. I could go. I was the slide DJ. So I'd say I'd go like, okay, what do you want to see? You want to see the inside of a dog? Here we go. I put the dog on. They see the dog. You go, oh, you know what would be really good? Let's see what part of a human tongue looks like. There we go. Let's put that under there. So I had like a whole like list of slides that they could go through and look at.
That's
and
really
I would just
cool.
like put them in as you needed to. Oh my God! You know what I should totally build? You know what would be awesome?
That's really cool. That works really well.
Am I back now? I'm back now. So you know what I should do is do remember those old school broadcasting, the overnight broadcasting places that had the robot that would go through and pull out the tapes?
Yep. Yeah, like old school cable television.
I should do that with the microscope slide so people could punch in what they want and it would put a slide in depending on what they want.
Dude, that would be the most, because there used to be a coding challenge that they had back in the day, which is what's the most complicated way you can write "Hello World," and it seems like that would be like the physical equivalent of that. Like, what is the most complicated way to show an image on stream to physically pull it from an archive and put it under a microscope and then switch to the camera versus just opening the image and just putting it on the screen?
But I mean, that you wouldn't have to worry about focusing, I don't think, because they're all slides. They'd all be the same
focal length.
Focal length would be the same. And so all you really need is the jukebox approach, right? Yeah,
dude, that would actually be really, really cool.
I kind of love that.
And then have like a random one. Just use a bot in your chat so that they can just do like a command, and they go in a queue, and each person gets like the slide for like 20 seconds.
I just get people to send slides, and I'll add it to the group.
That's a good idea, actually.
Although God knows what people will send you. You know.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the
oh God,
the one thing about the slides is as long as you don't accidentally slip in some of your like honeymoon slides, you can pretty much guarantee that nothing bad's going to happen on stream. Whereas anytime you open a feature up where people can put in URLs or put in even something like YouTube, like you think you're not going to find something bad on YouTube. And I'm sitting there and I open up that feature for like 1 second, like last year. And I'm like, oh, add something to the queue. And somebody adds something to the queue. And it's literally just like a dude doing meat spins for 30 seconds. I'm like, stop. And I was like, it was a YouTube video. Like somebody uploaded it to YouTube unlisted and then put the link in there. And since it was unlisted, YouTube didn't bother like removing it. So I was like, so now I'm really, really conscious. Like if I see a bit.ly link, don't click it. Any kind of short link, don't click it.
I'm terrified.
Dude,
I'm terrified of clicking on anything. Yeah.
And they find creative ways to do it. Like the last one that happened was I was doing reviews of PCs over on my Twitch stream. And I'm going through, I said, use hashtag so-and-so on Twitter. And so I go type in that hashtag on Twitter and I'm scrolling through with my screen capture on. And I'm going through and it's just all the PCs because it was like a really specific tag, right? It was like, show your PCs on, Nerdgasm or something. And I start scrolling down and then all of a sudden there's a picture of somebody's PC setup. And it's a really nice PC setup. But on the screen is basically a bunch of porn videos playing. And and as I'm scrolling, I don't notice immediately because I'm like, it's a big computer setup, and then you see the screens, right?
Yeah, because of course we're more interested in the PC porn
right, I'm
than
like,
the actual porn on the PC.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I saw it, I was like, no, and I had to like scroll away from it really quick. So we had to delete the live stream, edit it out, re-upload the VOD. It was just a big pain in the ass because somebody thought it'd be cute to try to get like porn up on the screen. So welcome to the internet, right? Everybody's trying to find like a little workaround or a little solution.
It's true, and someone will always figure out a way to.
They will.
Like that's like part of the creativity.
Totally right.
I got to say, I rather love that hacker's mentality towards this stuff. I love the idea of like, okay, how can we make this do something that's totally not meant to do?
I try not to get too mad at it though, because it's like this is all stuff that I did back in the day when it was a hell of a lot easier. Like getting people to like back in the day, we used to social engineer people on IRC all the time. I think I even told you the story about how we'd go like pedophile hunting. On IRC, and we'd like get the people's phone numbers and call them up and stuff. Be like, "Oh, hey neighbor, how's it going? I didn't think I'd see you here on the internet." And they'd hang up or freak out and be like, "Oh my god, please don't tell anybody." So you can't. Man,
that's terrifying.
It is, but it's like now every time you exploit like one of those things that treads on privacy, then somebody closes up that gap. And then you have to find a new gap, right? And that's why hacking has
we've got to protect the pedos. Is that the idea?
God, apparently, I don't get what the hell, dude. This is the stuff that pisses me off. So on Twitch, I used to harass scammers like Kitbo. If you've ever seen Kitboga, like I'd call up scammers, and I would just go. I'd mess with them for like a half an hour, 15 minutes, half an hour, and then I'd just go completely aggro on them and be like, "Your dad doesn't love you, and your family hates you for doing this." And I mean, I was really, really mean to them. Like, I'll even be the one to admit, like, and I did it in their own language too, by like butchering their own language. So it was really bad. But Twitch steps in and they literally banned it, not because of my profane use of language, because I was actively participating in targeted harassment. And I'm like, you realize these are scammers that called me first, that are trying to steal my money, that are lying to people. Like, I proved it to them. They're like, we know, but we have to apply the harassment universally. So under their rules, you technically could not, like, even if somebody was a convicted pedophile in prison, you could not like defame them or say anything bad about them. Otherwise, you could technically get banned off the platform. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, Twitch does not draw that distinction. They just say that it doesn't yet, right? I mean, at some point they're going to have to.
They'll have to figure it out, right?
And I think they have, because I mean, I've crossed that line a lot now, and they don't seem to do anything about it. But I just thought that was weird that because I have a partner manager over on Twitch, and my partner manager is like, yeah, I know, this is stupid, we have to do that. So he was the one that kept undoing the bans. And otherwise, if I was just a regular Twitch streamer, I'd never get my channel back. Like, the fact that I had a partner manager is the reason it kept coming back. But I was like, what am I doing different than Kitboga? Like, how does he get away with it? Oh, because what Kitboga does is he never insults them, and he's never mean to them, and he lets them do all the... He basically just lures them into doing all the mean stuff. So what he does, he baits them into harassing him. So you still get all the drama in the stream, but he's not technically breaking any of the rules. So he'll just be like, oh, you stole all my money. What am I going to do? And they'll be like, oh, you deserve to get your money. So why do you do this? Why, he'll just ask them questions and they just flip out and go aggro on him. And it works well.
But that's interesting. But it's okay if they're harassing him because it's his stream.
Correct.
As long as he's not bringing in people because of his own harassment.
Yeah. And the worst part about it was the people that reported me were the guys that actually I was scamming. Because I told him on the call, I said, hey, you're on the internet right now. And they got crafty, and one of their guys like went and found the stream because it literally said like, I think I even used the word harassing in the title.
They're making more money than we'll ever make.
Right.
That's the problem.
It's so stupid though. Like there's so many, I don't even know. But at the same time, I kind of want to like applaud Twitch for just universally applying a rule, because there's a lot of platforms like YouTube that like literally their top 10 contributors can do anything. They can literally make an entire feed of like Nazi propaganda, and they'd be like, oh, they didn't mean it. They apologized. Here, let's turn their show back on. And then another guy will do something that's just barely like he plays copyrighted music for like 2 seconds too long, and he loses his whole channel. And I don't like when a platform does that. I'd much rather have a platform be like way over the top and punish everybody the same, than try to like do like YouTube does, where it's like, oh, based on how much money you make us and how much viewership you get, we're going to reapply the rules to you completely differently.
Hack the hackers. It's a good point, Jarrett. That's I've always loved that side of stuff. The idea of like that it becomes like a battle of wills. That's why I love that Cliff Stoll, the Cuckoo's Egg. Did you ever read that?
No, I haven't.
We talked about this last. Dude, you would love that. Especially, well, actually, I say that. It's so old now. I mean, I'm so old now.
Read.
There's that. I got COVID brain. I never read anything anymore. It's always like, is there a video? Is there a video of that? That would be a lot easier.
You don't have to, man. There is so much media online. That is the interesting thing. It's like, I don't even know how books are even a thing anymore, because I can search for anything and find more videos on one topic than I could ever watch in my lifetime if I sped them up by like 4x and watched them end to end.
Well, okay, how do you think that from a kid standpoint? I'm struggling with that, because I'm going like, yeah, why are they doing this stuff? Like, why are they learning this crap in school if they could just go and see like the most brilliant man or woman alive talking about the subject that they've done nothing but studying on all their life? Why are they listening to someone, some teacher in Toronto who had to read a month's worth of work for it or something?
You know what I mean? And it's dynamic, right? So it's like every time, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I never get tired of hearing him talk about the same thing, because every time there's a little bit of a twist on it or a change. Whereas with the book, it's always the same when you come back to it. I'm not trying to book bash here. I understand, like, every book that I've ever read in my life has been a technical specification or how to program. That's it. Like, I think Buck Rogers was the only like paperback novel I've ever read in my entire life, and I was like,
Doctor Who. Yeah, Doctor Who and sci-fi were mainly, that's the only.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like, I know that the books, if you have like a really good imagination, like I could see that being like an escape. But the thing is, it's just like, there's so much creative visual and audio content, and I hang on to that so much better than when I read.
I'm so bad, because I like literally set things to like run at double speed so that I can get through it faster.
Yeah,
so
I actually like that
feature.
Books
at like 1.5 if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I got no time. I don't want to, like, I could learn. Look, I get every 2 books, I get an extra book out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the Audible thing, right?
Yeah, but you know what is great though? Do the Audible and the follow along text. That stuff locks in so much better.
Oh, I haven't even tried that. I just listened on Audible. I just listened. I didn't even know that they had the little follow along thing.
It's pretty great, because you could drift off either way. Like when I'm reading a book, I'll drift off. When I'm listening, I'll drift off. But if you've got both going, they can sometimes happen at different times. So you can sort of keep on track a little better.
That's actually pretty cool. I'm going to check that out. I do love Audible though. Audible has been a solid service.
Oh God, yeah.
Most again though, I don't think I've ever listened to like a storybook. Other than like maybe listening to like some kind of third party biography or something on like the past of politics or something like that, because I'm trying to understand our Constitution and stuff like that. But other than that, no, it's all technical stuff. Like I pulled up. Yeah, and it seems like I get through it a lot faster too, because like at 1.5x speed, like I don't read I'm not the fastest reader in the world. And I often have to go back because as I get tired, dyslexia starts to kick in, and I start like missing words and reading them out of order. And things don't make that much sense. But then on Audible, I can like rip through a book in like a couple of hours, like in one session, go through like an entire book that normally would have taken me like a week to read.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I'm the same way. I much prefer. Jane sort of laughs about me being the dullest man alive, because all I do is her. Like one of my favorite stories with Jane was that she goes through our accounts, and one month I get this call from above, because she works in the office at the top of the house, and I'm like, David, and I come up, and she goes, I'm just going through our Visa bill here. What is lynda.com? And she's like, okay, here we go. And then I said, well, let's type it in, and you can have a look and see if you think it's worth, type it in. And literally her face dropped. She's like, I just thought for a second maybe you were interesting, but okay, never mind. It's not. It's just tutorials. She's like, well, maybe it was like, for a second she thought like maybe there was some sexy stuff we could be exploring. No.
It's funny because we actually had a similar experience here, except for it ended up actually being a porn site, and I was and I was paying them for like 2 years and never realized it.
Oh my God! Oh, would you got it was like a phishing thing, or
no? I actually was legitimately signed up for it, because it was like one of those VR VR porn sites for like the VR goggles. And I signed up for it because I was on a talk. I was on like this little online 3D TED talk that I did about the future of VR. And that was one of the topics that they were exploring. So I'm like, I'm going to go do some research.
Porn always leads the way.
Never turned it off. I went and did the research, and it was one of those things where it's like you sign up and it's like $1.99, and then then you think it's going to just end. If you don't, no, they were charging me, like they changed the price, so I never noticed it again. The billing company was named something completely different.
Right.
It wasn't even the name of the site. Yeah. It was like Money Hyper Global Inc. dot, and I'm like, what the hell is this charge? And I literally called up the company because there's a phone number in the charge, and I get a call. It's like, hello. I'm like, is this business? Like, yes. I have a charge on my credit card. Who do you guys bill for or whatever? And he's like, we bill for over 200 sites. What kind of sites? Oh, adult sites. I'm like, oh shit. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, what could it be? What could it be? They couldn't even tell me what it was though. I had to proactively go back and like look through emails and try to find a bill that matched.
There you go. So you're covered basically. That's like you can do like ads for them now.
Yeah, but it blows my mind how many people can just forget about a charge. Like that is one of the easiest things. Like I guarantee you, every single one of you in chat, if you audit your finances, you go through and look at like every monthly charge and you verify every single one. It's painstaking, but if you go through and verify that, I guarantee you're going to find that you are signed up for stuff and have been for a long time. That's just like little charges, like $4.
Especially if you've got kids.
Yep, and the thing is because they're such small charges, you generally don't notice them. Like they don't affect your bottom line that much, so they become parasitic. And I found not just that one. That one was interesting because it was an adult site, but I found 3 other services that I was signed up for well over a year that I was paying for that I never used since the first time. Like I had a Usenet service that I haven't used Usenet in forever. Like, but I was signed up for this like Easy News thing, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And
I've got domains I thought I'd let go, and I'm like,
same thing. Same thing. I pay for so many domains every year that I'll probably never use. But
it's so hard to give them up though. Like once you've got them, it's like I don't know.
And they always tell you that thing. They pop up. They're like, if you want to buy your domain back, this is what its estimated value is, and it's always like 10 times more than what you're paying for it. So it's like, oh, we estimate Barnacules Nerdgasm is worth like $1,000, and it's like because they're doing like some quick Google search and seeing it pop up in a whole bunch of places. They're like, it's worth $1,000, and I'm like, oh damn. So if I let it go, then what they do is they don't just put it back in the pool. They camp it. They buy it and put it in a special personalized pool where somebody has to buy it.
Yeah, that's DavidHewlett.com. They got me on that. I guess I must have let it lapse at some point for a second, literally for a second, like or didn't auto renew fast enough or something, and they got it. And then I got this nice little call. I got a phone call. Hi, we're just wondering if you wanted to buy your domain. And I was like, fuck you. Fuck everybody you've ever met.
Exactly.
I hate you.
That's like highway robbery, dude.
Yeah. And I was like, here you go. Here's how it's going to work. I'm now David I. Hewlett because that's my middle name. And so I'm now DavidIHewlett.com. I'm like, screw you. I'm not paying like what I think they wanted like, I mean, it wasn't crazy, but I was like, I'm not paying you just on the principle. I'm not paying like $2,000 or whatever for my
Yep. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I have let's see. So which the one I own a domain that's actually worth a lot of money now. It's called like pay to win. I own pay to win. Wow. So pay2.win. We bought it a long time ago because we were going to create because we were making fun of like, games like Raid Shadow Legends. We were going to make a website on pay to win that's literally just a flash based game where all you do is you just put in money, and the more money you put in, it moves you up the leaderboard.
Just go to the leaderboard. Yeah, it's basically whoever's paid the most.
Exactly. But then we talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer was like, "Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of gray area there that can turn into not gray area. So you probably shouldn't do that."
But couldn't you just do it so like if you pay enough money, you just get like weapons that just wipe out everybody? Like just like you could do it without actually just knocking you up the leaderboard. You could just like if you put in $1,000 a month, you get like the mega cannon, which when you fire it once just kills everybody on the leaderboard or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think we had that one, but we did have some things in there where like if you went up the leaderboard, it would then send you a notification every day telling you like who surpassed you, so that you would feel like the pressure on you to go do it again.
Oh, nice. Oh, that is
good. And so, but we looked at that. We talked to some lawyers, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Even though this is kind of funny, I could still see people like getting hooked on that. So we ultimately decided not to do it, but now the domain I think is worth like $7,000 or something like that. And that was the last time I checked. So
the couple that I've got, I have my father when he was a doctor. He was OB-GYN, so he did a lot of early infertility stuff. So I registered infertilityonline.com, and that people keep bugging me about that because he said let it go. I don't want to pay for it anymore. I'm retired now. I don't need it. And I was like, no, Dad, you gotta like just keep the domain.
They're worth so much money now. Yeah, it's like you can't let them go. Even if they're a name.
Freaks.com.
Wait, you own that?
Freak. Yeah.
You told me that before. That's got to be worth a pretty penny because like hackers want that bad.
I would think so, but like, and I would honestly, if someone's got a good use for it, let me know. I'll give it to you. But I'm not a big. I don't love the cyber squatting stuff. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to recoup the money that I've spent just having it around for a while. But no, that was because we did it. I was pitching a TV series called Freaks.com, which was really fun actually back in the day.
Yeah. So people don't know freaking, right? So Freaks works on many levels because with Freaks with PH also works as like you're a nutter, you're crazy, but freaking itself is like exploitation of telecommunications, and I used to do that back in the day. Like freaking was like a big thing, or I remember like 2600 and the quarter tone, right? The frequency 2600 hertz.
That was the Captain Crunch. He discovered that the Captain Crunch cereal had a whistle that would blow at exactly the right rate to get you onto the long distance lines.
That was just a whole different time. But now a lot of that stuff doesn't apply because all the systems are digital. Yeah, and that's how you used to like you. I built something called a red box back in the day out of about $30 worth of parts from Radio Shack. And what it was, you bought a Conair phone and you broke the keypad out of it. You just busted the keypad out. And then one of the characters, I can't remember which one it was, but like you could alter the back of the board. You had to solder a little resistor on it, and then if you pushed any button on the pad, it would just emit a 2600 hertz tone. And then you put a little speaker on the back of it, and then you wrapped it all together in a little box. Mine was made out of like wood. I just had a little chunk of wood and a 9-volt battery. And you just take the thing. You could take a payphone. You just picked it up and you just put it up the receiver, and you just go, and you pick up the phone and it would register quarters. Yeah. And you could make calls, and then it'd say, please insert another 25 cents to continue your call. And you'd just be like, burp, 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 burp. And it's like, thank you.
The other thing we used to be able to do was the phone. I remember doing this once because I was stuck and didn't have a quarter or a dime at the time. Jesus, I'm old. You used to be able to click
Klondike 5?
The numbers.
Klondike 5? No, I'm just kidding.
So, yeah. In fact, he said, hello, connect me. Can you connect me to Birmingham, 652? No, you used to be able to you could hang up and you would click the numbers you needed. So you could you'd go like, click, 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 click. That'd be your 416. And then you could dial your number that way, giving a little pause between each series of numbers. And the payphone would dial for you. Because you were basically forcing the rotary. It was back when they were actually still using the rotary stuff. So I remember using that to call home once because I didn't have a dime. Yeah.
And were you like looking around like you were a drug dealer when you did it? Because I always did. Every time I used that red box, I was like, oh my God, there's going to be some FBI or some police officer watching me. And then I get into the future and I'm like, cops don't even know how to handle like online crime. Like you would steal $1 million in Bitcoin and like somebody could call your local police department. They'd be like, we don't even know what to do, dude. Like,
dude, I could cry on a dime. I would like, whenever I got in trouble, I'd just go like, and they'd be like, oh, come on. Obviously he's sorry. They'd be like, it's like
I think the statute of limitations run out though. So we can admit to all of our past transgressions as children. I used to go to a local arcade called Silver Coin in the Silverdale Mall. And I used to, you ever hear the term jackpotting? Mm-hmm. So jackpotting is basically you just take a $1 bill or a $5 bill or a 20. Usually it's $1 though, because you don't want to destroy a $20 bill. You take a $1 bill and you just put packing tape over the top, and then you extend it about 2 feet, and then you roll it over and you put it on the other side of the bill. So the bill is basically sandwiched between the packing tape. And then what you do is you cut the edges so it's just as wide as the bill as best you can. It doesn't have to be that straight. God. And then what you do is you just grab the end of it like as hard as you can, and you feed it in the machine, and it goes, and then it does this little right before it puts it in the cash box. And when you feel that little, you just rake that thing back through the mechanism after it's already counted it. And then it drops tokens. And then you do it again. But you had to make sure you did it before it goes in the cash box, because once it goes in the cash box, a little door closes and pinches it, and you can't pull it back. So yeah, it was like this timing, and I used to use that for free sodas, and I got caught doing it actually. I did it for free sodas when I went to Hawking Middle School in Belfair, Washington. And I did it at Silver Coin. Like I just have my friends stand around me, and I'd just be like really hunkered up to the machine and just be like, wait. We literally just pull out piles of tokens. It wasn't even real quarters. They were God. It was all rigged to run on tokens, right? So, so we did that. And then like, some other kids like saw us doing it once. And they're like, well, we're going to tell. And I'm like, no, I'll show you how to do it. And then they're like, we're not going to tell. And it got so bad to the point where everybody was like jackpotting the thing after like a month. Like we didn't even get away with it for more than like a month, that they actually put a mechanism in the thing that when the $1 bill went in, if it detected the foil behind it, it would just spit it back out. And I was like, what the shit? Like, it wasn't working anymore. And I'm like, why isn't this working anymore? The machines still look the same. And so somebody walked up and they're like, oh yeah, the manager's onto us. Like he installed like a little sensor or whatever that detects if there's any like it's like a trigger switch. And if the bill comes in and it doesn't fall back down, it just spits the bill back down. So if anything's tied onto it, like a rope, anything, it'll break that beam and then it won't take the dollar in. And I was like, shit, that is an easy solution. But because people exploited the machine, that's why they came up with the solution, right? The coin mech guys actually figured out this was happening enough that they had to make something to stop the attack. And so that's kind of like the hacker mentality, right? You defeat a system, it makes it stronger.
Yeah, and in a way, to me, it was the idea of defeating it was the value rather than actually ripping them off. I mean, God, I remember when they first put out the instant tellers, and you used to get some machines that screwed up. And I remember a bunch of my friends going in, and you'd go and you'd say you'd ask for $10, and it would give you $100. It's just like it bounced to zero somehow, and these guys were going and pulling thousands of dollars out of the. And I was like, guys, I think that's amazing and brilliant, and you're so going to jail. Like you will literally go to jail for this. Like it's not like.
It still happens too. It still happens. It's just a little bit different now. They use skimmers. Yeah. Have you seen this? So this happened to me. I got hit by a skimming attack probably about 10 years ago. I was in Issaquah, Washington. And I go up to a nice bank, really nice area, right? Go up to the bank, don't even think about it. I stick my card in the machine, I pull it out, I pull out a couple $100 because we're going to do some stuff like go-karting. And by the time I get home, I get a call from my bank saying that my account is overdrawn. And I'm like, how is that possible? The account's got like $3,000 or $4,000 in it. I'm like, okay, so what's going on? I go look at it. There was a $500 ATM withdrawal, and there was like all the way up until my account was super overdrawn. Within 30 seconds. All the transactions occurred from multiple banks around the area where I was in.
Oh, wow.
And so I contested
they just skimmed your card?
They skimmed my card. So what I did is I called the bank and I said, okay, I've been, a victim of fraud of some kind, and my credit card got stolen or something. I'm like, they're like, do you still physically have the card? I'm like, yes, I do. But like somebody found a way to like get into my account. And so they called me back 3 days later and they're like, we have video footage. And they couldn't show me the video footage for whatever reason, for legal reasons, but they said the video footage clearly showed in 3 of their bank locations, people walking up and literally just feeding blank cards into the machine, taking out $500 and then doing it again and doing it again. They were coordinating over cell phones. So, because what happens is if you take out $500 twice a day, the bank locks your account for that day. You can't take out any more through the ATM. It's like, so what they did is they figured out that back then they were using modems still to talk back and forth. So it took time. So as long as you did the withdrawal from all the ATMs within 30 seconds, so they'd coordinate over the phone, be like, insert card, enter number, quick withdrawal, $500. And so they were able to get like 8 or 9 transactions out before it actually locked up. And by that time, they'd already overdrawn my account like massively.
That's really smart. And
so they found the skimmer, and it was at the bank that I went to. They're like, we checked, and there was a physical device. And what it was is, they didn't show me a picture of the device, but I went and looked it up online, like what they commonly use, because this is a thing you can buy from China. It basically looks just like the card reader that's on the ATM machine, and it's about that much thicker. And it has double stick tape, and you basically just align it with the slot and put it over the top. And at the bottom, it says like insert card here, and they just replicate that and put it on there, and they stick it on. And then what they do is they come back at the end of the day and they just rip it off the machine. And it's got all the credit card numbers because the magnetic stripe passes through it to go into the machine, and the machine already sucks the card in. So like when you push it, it sucks it past the skimmer and then shoots it back out through the skimmer. And I was like, holy shit. But they said, yeah, the guys, it wasn't just me that got hit. They said that they got about 24 people. The people were standing because the detective was talking to me on the phone. He's like, the guy was standing with a stack of cards, and one by one, they were putting them in on the phone. Faces and view and everything. So I'm sure they caught him. Like, I mean, you could see these people. They weren't wearing like ski masks and stuff.
Yeah, and they probably hired a bunch of kids.
Probably. Yeah, they were all young. The guy said they were all real young. So
hired a bunch of students who aren't going to go to jail, and they do it all for them.
Yeah, so
that's how I would do it.
So I got a really good piece of advice, and I still do it to this day. And the most common places that skimming occurs isn't at the ATMs, it's at gas machines. Gas machines are the number one place for skimming because it's the easiest place, because you can just pull up and act like you're fueling up your car. The cameras aren't right on the machines. Like most of the gas dispensers don't have cameras like right on them. So they have like a wide view, so it's pretty easy for you to get up close and put something on the machine without being noticed, whereas the ATM, it's significantly harder. But yeah, the gas machine. So what you want to do is if you ever walk up to a machine and the card reader isn't completely flush with the machine, grab onto it and tug it, like give it a good tug. Because even the detective told me that they're securely in place. Like they don't want people being able to steal that component off the machine. So all the stuff that's facing out of the machine is like heavily bolted in with like grade 8 hardware.
Right.
So they're like, if you cannot pull it away or it doesn't jiggle, then safely use the machine. But they're like, if you feel anything move, like even if it's double stick tape and it's really strong, if you feel any, because sometimes they'll just floss it off, right? So if you feel it move or jiggle at all, they're like, don't use it.
I'm going to try to rip everything off all the time now.
Do it. Just grab it. I do, like instinctively. Anytime I walk up to a machine, I grab if it's protruding. If it's flush, then it doesn't matter. But if it's protruding, yeah, I grab that stuff and yank on it. I still haven't found another skimmer though. So luckily this isn't happening enough that I'm like running into them all the time, because that would have been really disconcerting. And the other thing too is, and the detective told me this too to protect myself, is he's like, if you go to a restaurant and you pay with your credit card and you put your credit card on that thing, pay attention to how long they have the card and if they go out of view. Because it's really, really easy, especially in drive-thrus at fast food restaurants.
Oh God, they just same thing. Swipe it twice.
Yep. Exactly. Watch them. Make sure that they only swipe your card once. If you see them like swipe it and then you see them swipe it again, sometimes they have to retry the card. So if they're using the same machine, like, and you can tell that, that's okay. But if you see them swipe it and then you see them go somewhere else and swipe it, or sometimes they'll say this too: oh, the credit card machine's broken here. We need to take it to up to the register. What they can do is there's a pocket unit that you can buy from China that's like $100, and it basically just records the numbers. And what they do is they swipe the card through, they turn it around, and the security code, they just type it in, and it stores it in a spreadsheet, a common delimited value in the machine. And so during the day, they just walk away from the window where you don't see them. They scan your card through, they take the CCV, put it on there, and then they can go through and transfer money off your cards and make purchases on Amazon and all kinds of stuff.
How are they getting the codes, though? How are they getting, like, the security codes?
The security code's written right on the card, on the backside. So they physically have the card, right? So they take the number and then they flip it over and they take the expiration date and then the CCV security code and they type it on the
normally like
pad.
a PIN code? There's normally like a PIN code they've got to do.
For debits, yes. For credit transactions, no. And most debit cards are also credit cards. So like
I got hacked on PayPal, or I got phished on PayPal or whatever. I don't know. I still don't know how they do that.
Actually, PayPal's a pretty easy one to crack, actually.
They've got. I'd be curious. I want to hear about it and it was actually. It seemed so obvious to me. I was like, Jen was going through the stuff. She sees this, like, it was like Sonia kind of one of these like names that like just like a every single consonant on the in the alphabet on it.
Yeah. And
the email address was PayPal and a series of numbers.
Yep.
Like, so literally it's obviously like an automated thing. They took $1,000 out of my account.
Yep.
I contacted PayPal through their fraud division, and they said, nope, it's a valid thing. I was like, it's not a valid thing. As the owner of that account, I'm telling you, it's not a valid withdrawal. Nope, sorry, we don't see a problem with that. Wow. We don't see any signs of fraud. That's on you. And then Jane goes, well, I mean, it's a female name. I mean, I suppose, there's if you were having any kind of an affair with a with an Eastern woman of some sort, maybe you were sending her money or something. And I was like, I guess, but I
like how your wife's like logically laying that out like a Vulcan. Like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense.
Like, if this was what you were going to do, since she knows I'm the dullest man alive, she knows that that's not the case. But it was only when I took to Twitter, where there's 107,000 tweets.
Then they were forced to do something, right?
Then away, they was like, we've looked at it again and decided that it's actually fraud. And I was like, well, wait a sec, but what about people? What about normal freaking people who don't have Stargate?
They get screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
I use I call it my content creator privilege. And I've had to use it so many freaking times on social media to get a company to do the right thing. And it's like, yeah, nobody else has that ability. I even do it for some people. Like, I've had people message me and explain like what's going on in their situation. And I'll even tag the company, and then the company will contact them and fix it. But I'm like, why didn't you just respond to them when they tagged you directly? It's like, are you guys literally like sorting it by how many followers these people have? Which I guess would logically make sense.
I had it with a TV company. So I had a TV, and literally the day after it went out of warranty, it just died. Completely died. It was just
planned obsolescence. Like that guy should get an award who designed that television for getting it so right.
So I called them and they said, oh, it's out of warranty. It's going to cost you. We'll get a guy to come around. It'll be like $5,000 or so. I was like, what the hell are you talking? Like, it's crazy. Again, took to Twitter. They freaked out because the guy, the tweeted response was, dude, you're out of warranty. You're out of luck. Like, literally said that, like the kind of thing. And I was like, that's seriously your forward-facing social media response to this problem? You're an idiot, basically. And I got a call from them, and the guy's like, "Oh my God, dude, I'm so sorry, I didn't know it was you." And I'm like, it shouldn't matter who it is. Like, it totally shouldn't matter. You should never talk to your customers like that. Any of your customers. But dude, what TV do you want? What size do you want? Whatever. I was like, no. I said, just get me the part and make sure that when this goes wrong again for other people, you send them the part too. Like, it's freaking nuts. And honestly, that's what they did. They were really good about it, and I still buy their TVs. So
and the TV probably cost like the TV probably wasn't even as worth as much as the repair was. Like,
no,
see, and that's what sucks.
And now that I say that, oh God, you know what? Now that I say that, no, screw them, because they also got nailed for hacking. They got nailed for stealing everyone's keystrokes. Remember, there was one of those TVs that was stealing all the user data.
Is it a Samsung?
No, it was a Vizio.
Oh, Vizio got popped for doing that? Oh,
I think
man.
Vizio, maybe they didn't. I think, if someone could tell me whether I'm right or wrong.
I do recall this. I do recall there being a TV that got in trouble for like data logging and uploading stuff that they didn't disclose to the end user. I feel
like it was Vizio. I could be wrong, but if anyone could tell me or prove me wrong, that'd be great.
Well, now we know why their TVs are so cheap.
That's the thing, is their TVs are so cheap and they're so good. Like, for the price, it was amazing.
Yeah. I thought it was Samsung, but then again, I love Samsung TVs. Everything I have is Samsung.
Vizio's what I had. Yeah, it was Vizio.
Oh, so it was Vizio. Okay, yeah, Technology Geek said it was Vizio. That's crazy. I want to say that Samsung had an app or something that was doing something similar to that, though.
Oh no, I'm sure a bunch of them were. But Vizio, I think, got busted because they were literally taking information they shouldn't have, like what channels you were watching, how often you were watching them, what apps you were using, what you were watching on the apps. Like, they were stealing everything.
So you're like basically a Nielsen viewer at that point, like held hostage. Like, that's crazy.
I think it's genius. If I could have that access to information, I would take that in a second. But
it does suck though that you do have to raise hell to get a company to do the right thing. When for them it's like no big deal. Like it's really not a big deal for them to do that. And I see that happen. Like, so many people get screwed.
You want all my information? I'm totally fine with that. You can know everything I watch on TV. I've got no problems with that. Give me a frickin' free TV, and I'm there. You're done.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Or at least, you know what I think actually would make more sense, like as far as from an ethics standpoint, where companies could steal your data, but not really steal it and make it like advantageous for everybody, would be for them to actually like give you a credit or pay you a portion of like what they make off of your information. Yeah. And then you could decide that, you know what, I don't know how to sell my information in volume. So you go ahead and do it. Just like, having a store sell something for you, like eBay, right? Let them take their cut.
We've established we're whores. We're willing. We just need the right price.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let me check a box that says, okay, I have the choice of having the free service and I give you all my data in exchange for that free service, or I pay you like $4.99 a month, but you have to give me back half of everything you make off of my information. Yeah. Like every ad you serve to me, everything.
Back to the grid.
Yeah, I think that actually is an idea that I don't think anybody's explored. That's actually kind of genius. Like,
I think that's brilliant.
People would do that, right? Because you'd sign up, even if you only made like 25 cents. If you had 100 services that you were signed up for, they were doing that. I mean, you'd be getting like this little stipend check in the mail every month. It'd be nice.
Or just have two prices on things. Like, so I'm going to buy my iPhone. You're going to steal all my data. I get the iPhone for $50. If I want to pay for it and have it completely locked down, it's $1,000. That is good.
That is actually a really, really good idea. And then like nobody can complain because it's like you knew what you were getting into. Like you made that decision. Yeah. The EULA shit is so legalese and so big that nobody reads it. They intentionally make them large so that you can't read them. Like, did you ever hear about that experiment where the guy created the website? It was no, not dihydrogen monoxide. That was another really bad one. But he created a website where people signed a petition for something that was egregious. But it said by signing the very last paragraph, he didn't even hide it in between. He literally, the very last paragraph in like the 600-page generic EULA was, by signing this petition, you agree to give your firstborn to me and never say my name Rumpelstiltskin or something like that. And it was like straight up lifted. And I mean, he didn't even hide it. It was like the last sentence in the last paragraph, and people had to scroll to the bottom to push accept, and they still missed it. Less than 1% of the people noticed it. And I was like, wow, like we literally are drones. We are.
There's an app we need. We need like a smart app, a lawyer app that reads all of these things for you and highlights the things that people have flagged as issues.
Dude, that is why doesn't that plugin exist?
That'd be perfect. Like, so whenever, instead of just pressing it, up comes a little app and you go, analyze, and it goes through and it goes, oh, I've never seen this one before. Give us a day, we'll get back to you, type thing.
That is
and then you can just have a database of information.
Oh, dude, I'm right. That one's worthy of writing down. So let's see here. Fun. So plugin for scanning EULAs for shady shit, because it would be really, really easy for you to just have a database of scary legal terms like perpetuity. Like, you know,
and whenever they change.
Yeah. Like anything's like perpetuity, or we own, or you agree that we. Like look for terminology like that, and then have a scanner that goes through and pulls that and then puts it in a small condensed version with indices. So you can be like, okay, these are the 5 things that look suspect. That is genius. Why does that not exist?
It's flagged this, and this as issues. You go, oh, okay, great.
Dude, that's $1 million app idea. That is a $1 million app idea, and I guarantee you 5 people in chat are already stealing it and writing it as we speak. And that is okay.
Damn it.
That is okay. You guys go ahead. Just credit me somewhere.
And you and Aux get to split it. Shit.
Well, I'm not going to get shit because they're going to make it.
No, but that's, I mean, look, if someone could do that, it'd be just useful, frankly.
It is a very useful
the other one
idea
that I keep thinking about that we talked about a couple of weeks back was the rating system, like a calories for what it does to the world. What is like the idea of like, okay, I'm buying a Vizio television. So you're going to steal my data. You've 14 children died over the last 20 years making your TVs by pulling, whatever materials they needed from the ground.
Yeah.
We pay X amount of dollars to cartels. Like basically say, what are I'm picking on Vizio. It's not, I'm making this up. But the idea being is like, when I buy a TV, I want to know, for $100 I can buy one that kills children, or I can spend $1,000 and I've got my conscience is clear.
Yeah.
They're building schools in Africa. You know what I mean? Like and they have the same kind of ratings like they do with calories, because there's sometimes I'm going to walk in there, I'm going to buy that child killing TV because I don't have the money.
Oh yeah, we do. Dude, blissful ignorance
doing.
Is wonderful, right? Like as long as you people don't even want to know. That's the argument I've been making for a long time. It's like you don't even want to know. It's like when I'm eating chicken, I'm not thinking of the chickens in the factory farms that are like getting their heads popped off by a machine. I'm thinking of the chickens that are out to roost and they're eating and having a good old time, and then they're ethically slaughtered. That's what I'm looking at when I'm eating the chicken. But the odds are it's coming from the factory that like popped the chicken's heads off.
As long as you know. As long as I know, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm joking about the kids thing, obviously. But what would happen is that you'd end up going like, I could buy the $100 one now and screw the planet and everyone on it. Or I wait like a week and I could save up and get the slightly more expensive one that's actually done in an ethical way. But you got to know that. It's like I go into McDonald's, I go, okay, that freaking Big Mac, I love the Big Mac, but it's like 15,000 calories. I'll get 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like, at least I know what I'm doing to myself when I'm doing it.
At least you're less likely to eat it like every day. Like even me, even somebody who's not even super conscious about it, I will look at that and be like I stopped drinking. I can actually cite a case where that worked beautifully. I used to go to Starbucks and they used to have this drink that was this melted chocolate. It was like a little,
oh my God.
Remember that? It was like literally they melted like a chocolate bar into like a little shot. And I just get one of those every time I got a drink. Like I'd get the drink too. And I get one of those and I pound that thing. I mean, man, this is so delicious. That dopamine boost in your brain. You're like, I love this fucking thing. Then Starbucks, the law passed that said that they had to put calories on, restaurants. Yeah. And I go in there, it was 1,100 calories for like 2 ounces of fluid. And I was like, holy shit, I never had one again. It literally
happened to me. It was the macchiato, the caramel macchiato.
Yep.
They used to do the macchiato, and they used to just like freaking pour like caramel syrup on top of it. And all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, if I just had a coffee, it's like 0 calories.
Isn't that crazy though? So it does actually work. It might not work in every case because again, it's pros and cons, right? If you like the chicken so much that you're okay with the chickens being mutilated, then that's fine. Eat the chicken, that's fine. But know about it. Don't think these are like chickens that like died of natural causes and then they had a little funeral for them and they said a prayer and then they took them back and they plucked them ethically and slowly massaged the tissues of them before they sent them into the afterlife. No, it's like no, they literally were like raised in a pen that's like a 1 by 1 foot box and like basically just fed and forced to like lay eggs until it was time to eat.
At the end of the day, they're still getting killed, so we eat them.
Yeah, we eat them.
And I eat them.
No, I do too. But know it, right? It's like what's happening. Like I even forced myself to watch that documentary on factory farming, which by the way will make you damn near throw up no matter how, you can get through 2 Girls 1 Cup easier than that documentary. And I can tell you right now, like even after that, I was like kind of questioning it. And it was like within like 2 days, I was like back to eating meat again. So it's one of those things, but at least I know. Like I'm not just lying to myself, right? I'm a great person because it's like the people that show up to rallies for like Greenpeace in a boat that burns like 6,000 gallons of diesel an hour, and you're like, what? Huh? Like, again, all your kayaks are made from petroleum.
Yeah, I mean, but you need that if you're going up against the whaling, the whaling oil. I mean, was it the refueling? Of whaling.
No, and I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm just saying that they should understand that. Like, just understand that. It's like, yes, okay, you were fighting fire with fire, because sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. I do that all the time. I totally understand the need to fight fire with fire. But at the same time, it's just funny because they'll be like holding up a sign or something that's like, we want the petroleum industry to stop. And it's like, you do know that the canoe you're in is like literally 100% petroleum. You do know that boat that's like blockading this river or whatever is burning like 6,000 gallons of, like, there are alternatives. You could have a giant sailing ship, right? That was like put together out of like balls, but it'd cost 10 times more and it'd go half the, a quarter of the speed. Right. So it's just ethically, I kind of get like frustrated with people that are, now if you admit it, if you're out there and you're like, listen, I'm fighting fire with fire because there's no way we can catch that ship unless we use one that's just like it, then that's fine. But like, at least like, don't put Greenpeace on the side of the ship. Put like, we want this ship docked for life. Help us. Here's our URL.
Yeah. We never want to burn another fossil fuel in our lives.
Exactly.
Stop killing the fucking whales.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, just put that on the ship. Just accept it and be like, you know what? This ship exists for the purpose of not existing. Like, our end goal is for the ship to just literally just get sunk in a harbor and turned into a coral reef.
Well, even the electric stuff. Even the idea of the electric stuff. Yeah. You've got like, where they're everyone's like, oh, well, I drive an electric car. It's like, yeah, that's using coal freaking power plants to charge it. I mean, you got to know where that's coming from, right?
Yeah, and that is the funniest one. That is the biggest hypocrisy that I see in modern times today. Is that people that drive electric vehicles are like, oh my gosh, our air is so clean, but it's like not the people that have to live next to the coal plant that's putting out like twice the production so you can charge your damn car. All you're doing is consolidating it, which isn't a bad, I mean, actually, there are still benefits to consolidating the pollution in one area versus having it distributed over a large area.
Yeah, like as long as you're not in that area.
As long as you're not in that area. That's the big thing, right?
It's like, not in my backyard, it's the NIMBYs.
Yeah, if you flush your toilet, you don't care if that turd ends up in like some child's playground 10 blocks down the road, as long as you never have to look at it or know about it.
That's the problem, isn't it? The problem. We definitely have a kind of an ostrich mentality on this stuff where we just like, if I don't see it, it's not a problem.
Just like bury your head in the sand. Exactly.
But that's why I like the idea of like a world calories. Like, what is the effect of this purchase you're making on the world? And I don't know who would decide that. Probably you and me. But, the idea that you could get experts to come in and say, like, okay, how does this contribute to deforestation? How does this contribute to pollution or child labor, or have a bunch of different things, and then just go, this is the impact this product is making on the world.
That would be interesting.
No company would want it. So you'd probably have to like hire lots of students to run around slapping stickers on stuff.
you know what would end up happening if they actually
fight the power.
If they did pass a law and that was possible for them to basically lay it out and say, okay, a third party has objectively said that this is your impact on the universe by buying this product. I think what you would see is kind of like with the Starbucks thing. You would have some people that would be willing to pay more to get the product that was like more ethically done. I would even do that myself.
Here's my problem.
And the people that can't, because they can't afford the better product, and they still buy the old product, at least the production of it goes down. Mm-hmm. And there's less of them being made, which then will encourage the company to make more of the other one, but still make some of the, the shitty ones that kill the earth, so that everybody can still have access to it. But at least you're still making a net positive gain. Like you are actually making it better. And you're never going to solve everything.
Educating people. Yeah, I mean, you're just educating people about it. I mean, and there's also parts of the world that don't have that privilege, that they can't go like, I think I'd rather have the slightly more expensive. They're like, just any food I can get, I'll take. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
like somebody said,
I feel like it'll get cheaper, right? If there's more of a demand for the stuff that's ethically sourced and whatever, then they all gets cheaper, right?
Yeah, it may get like more expensive in the beginning, but again, supply and demand will sort it out, right? Like, you just need more people to want the better product, the better made product. Yeah. And the thing is too, is like the product that's made ethically is going to be a better product. Yeah, it just is, because I mean the whole fact that anytime you have a labor force that's not being paid properly and is being forced to do something, even forced, not all of them are, like somebody
you're gonna see.
Exactly. They're not, their heart's not in it, right? It's like, it's not something that like they have to do it. And somebody pointed out in chat, actually, a really good, I like to play devil's advocate to myself on a lot of things. I think it's important to see things from both perspectives. And the thing is, like, you can't just take jobs away from kids making stuff. You can't, because that's how they support their families and the culture that they're at. And unless we can change and influence and give them an alternative, taking that away is unfair. Like, that's unfair. Even if we think it's the worst thing in the world, you're like, oh my God, all these 4-year-olds are like digging lithium out of the ground and it's like killing them. At the same time, it's like, if they didn't do that, they wouldn't be able to feed their families and they would starve to death. So it's like this really hard ethical struggle where it's like you think you can fix it just by stopping it, but you're not offering an alternative. You have to offer an alternative. And
it's always better to. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what the alternative would be is make better products that you spend more money on, so that the companies can give more money to those kids and to those families and give them a better quality of life. And then what you do is you make damn sure there's a third party watching it. So if all that extra money going into it just ends up going to the corporation, then you penalize that corporation and take that money away, and then you distribute it yourself. So it's I mean, it'd be something that had to be implemented over a very long period of time, and you'd have to have a third party that wasn't like in the government's pocket, because, as I say, everybody's corruptible, right? Everybody has a price. So
as long as the money is going towards the right things. I mean, I think there's a very sort of colonialist kind of approach to this stuff, where we think we're going to like wade into another country and say, we've got it solved now. You've got to stop polluting. And it's like, excuse me, like we're like, you've been doing it for God knows how long, and we don't have the options here. What seems to work really well is if you can find local groups that are doing the right stuff, you support them. Yeah. Because they're on the ground there. They know the people. So go find the companies that are ethically sourcing and pulling the lithium. And all of a sudden they get all the funding money instead of the ones that aren't. So I feel like that's something that. And again, this is the beauty of social media, right? Is you can have these. It just takes a couple of videos of going like, Apple, people are killing themselves at your plant. Like that's. You
can change a lot of minds. You're not going to change everybody's mind, but you can change a lot of minds by showing people like what's really going on. Because I mean, there's blissful ignorance, which I consider is that something wrong is happening, but you choose to just ignore it and you don't want to know more about it. It's like,
I wish for that.
Exactly. Blissful ignorance. And then you have just straight up ignorance, where it's like people genuinely don't know. And the reason they don't know is because it's not in the best interest of the people that can put that message in front of them to put that message in front of them, right? You're not going to rely on Facebook and Twitter to be posting things about how all the Amazon products that are advertising on their platform are, unethically made in some other country. It wouldn't benefit them. So they're not going to be the one that send that message. But independent people, that like now everybody has a voice, right? You have a voice, I have a voice. Anybody that wants to have a voice has a voice. If you have one viewer, you can go make a video on YouTube, and if you're exposing something that's worthwhile and it's something that people want to see, somebody will pick that up and give it a boost. They will, and it will just word of mouth. It'll take time sometimes, and it may not, and not every video is going to do that, but that's something that we couldn't do before. That's like one of the positives. Like when I go over the pros and cons of the internet, that is one of the biggest pros, is that everybody has a voice. Like regardless of whether it's got altruism behind it or whether you are totally fucking evil, everybody has a voice. Everybody can speak up. And that wasn't true before.
They all have a voice. Unfortunately, they don't all speak at the same volume. That's the issue.
That is very, very true.
Very true. Crushed by the mega death sounds of the giant corporations and stuff that can afford to manipulate us that way. But I mean, I started watching Social Dilemma and I turned it off. I was like, oh, you've got to be freaking
Don't you
kidding
feel like a tool after watching that?
I should watch it again.
Yeah.
Because I started watching it and I was like, as soon as they started doing reenactments, I was like, oh, what there's actors.
Yep. If you guys haven't seen this,
my documentary.
Yeah, it's Netflix. Go on Netflix, watch. It's called The Social Dilemma, and it's a series that basically talks about how social media uses you as a product. Yeah. Like you are the product. You are not. You think you're the consumer. You are more the product than you are the consumer right now with the current state of social media.
You are the product.
Yeah, and they don't go after any one entity. They go after social media as a whole, which I think is like really, really cool. Like they're not playing favorites to one over the other. But what they're talking about is how easily it is for you to just ignore like things that are like once you see it, you're like, oh my God. Like
I just wish they were straighter about it. It just the documentary. It's was really well done. Oh, really? See, I didn't think so. I found it very sort of. It was just so. Look, I agree with everything it's saying. I just felt that it was like when your parents raise your voice at you, and you're like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was just like. I almost wanted to not agree with it because I felt like I was being preached to.
You know what? I'll give you that. When I'm saying it's well done, I'm saying it like it was well done at exposing something that people genuinely don't know or ignore.
Oh yeah, the information is absolutely.
But you are right. It totally was like a guilt trip. It was like literally like going to like a Greenpeace meeting and being like, "Hey, if anybody here is wearing rubber shoes, take them off and throw them in the garbage right now, or we're going to shame you in the parking lot." Yeah, it definitely had that vibe.
And come on, like if you're going to point out all the negative stuff, you have to point out the benefits of the stuff too.
That's what was missing. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Like,
it was very biased.
Because my concern with something like with a documentary like that is that And again, I haven't watched the whole thing, so I was tired and I just got ticked off, so I turned it off. But
I haven't made it all the way through either, if I'm honest. I mean, I think I'm on episode 3.
Well, and we're also both ADHD, so that's probably a big part of it. But
yeah, so we only heard 5% of each episode.
My kid was forced to watch it at school, which I'm also resentful of, because I'm like, dude,
that's wrong,
for this kid to be at school. Tell him to watch it at home, and then they can talk about it at school. But don't spend 2 hours of my expensive.
Yeah, no, I disagree with school. That's one thing that I do disagree with, is school should be focusing purely on proven science and the foundation of learning, not the political overtone of it. Like for instance, I think schools should teach math. They should teach science. They should teach us about the universe. They should teach us about metallurgy, chemistry, all these things that allow us to then go understand everything else scientific and learn on our own.
Make our choices.
Yeah, you have to know how to read. You have to know how to. I mean, these are universals, right? Like, I don't think there's. Actually, I shouldn't say this because there probably is. I don't think there's some like math flat Earth group out there that's like 1 + 1 = 7, and they actually believe it. It's entirely possible, but math is universal, right?
Well, it's quantum mechanics, maybe.
Right, yeah. What is the saying? If you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics.
I'm sure there's something that they can prove us wrong on that one. Yeah,
exactly. So the one thing that I don't want taught in school, and some of my viewers might find this surprising if they watch my Twitch stream too, because I do have a political opinion that I try to stay off on the show. But I don't want the school to teach that.
No, neither do I.
I don't want the school to teach religious beliefs, even though my wife is Christian. I don't want them teaching politics. It's like their parents' job is to decide what their children have access to a point, and then they use the knowledge that they learn from school to learn on their own.
I don't want to tell my kid.
Yeah.
People talk about it's a Christian child. It's like, no, it's not a Christian child. It's a child that has been raised by Christians.
Exactly. That is exactly true.
Same thing, Muslim people. They're not Muslim people. They're people being raised to be Muslims. Like,
exactly.
It's all just a programming, basically.
And many of them that get this, if you get educated to a point where you have a thirst for knowledge, because that's what happens. Like, once you get educated to a certain point, you realize that there's limitless amounts of data. Like, the human condition kicks in, and you have to know. You have to know. So there's a lot of people that escape
at night, buddy.
Yeah. What's that?
That's why we don't sleep at night.
Exactly.
There's too many freaking things to know.
It's like, and it's all different ranges too. It's like world peace. Should I eat a donut? World peace. Should I eat a donut? It's like,
but it tastes so good.
It's so good. Oh God, the calories, they wrote it on the box. No. Yeah, exactly.
And children died making these donuts.
Yeah, it's like one of the ones that recently came up in our schools. I guess they're going to start teaching sex ed younger, right? And the thing is like, I agree with the concept of teaching them like what to watch out for and what to be aware of so that they can avoid being a victim. But like, you don't have to go like super in depth on this stuff. It's like, we are human beings. It is going to be figured out and sorted. It will. But the goal should be to like just teach them the fundamentals of like, this is what you need to watch out for so that you're not abused, basically. Like, because unfortunately a lot of kids get abused because they don't know what's happening to them.
Consent.
And so it's like, teach that. Yeah. But you don't have to be like busting out the freaking like, like the banana and the artificial vag and everything, be like in like kindergarten and be like, kids, I'm going to show you a lesson.
Oh my God.
It's like they take it pretty far here in the new legislation.
If you don't teach it in school, you're getting it from the internet. Although there's so many things I don't want to, you don't want to learn about, you do not want to learn about love on the internet. That is, No, not even sex. It's like if you look. So I feel sorry for any kid who like Googles sex. Like, I would never have sex again.
Oh my God! You'd never have what is considered sex. Like, that's for sure. Like you'd have every other single permutation of it.
Well, and that's the other issue that they have as well. Of course, is that kids are self-educating online, and they're self-educating using pornography, which is. That's like looking at Hollywood movies and going like, that's what I want to be when I grow up.
And I'm a victim of that myself. I am absolutely a victim of myself. Like, I learned everything about sex at a very young age from like bulletin board systems of BBS, because my parents had no idea that I could like my computer was calling other computers. They didn't really know what that meant. Right. And so I got a trial by fire and all that stuff growing up. And that did not serve me well, like at all. Like, in hindsight, looking back on that was like, no. That was not the way to go. And to be clear here, I have absolutely no problem with porn if people want to do it and that's what they want to do. And that, hey, power to them, let them do their thing. And hell, I even enjoy it to a degree. But I'm just saying that shouldn't be the foundation that you like learn and start off with. Like, you should learn the biology aspect at a young age, but you shouldn't learn like everything. You shouldn't be forced into like looking at like these things on the internet and be like, that's a healthy relationship. It's like, no, those were people that were paid. They're not happy because of what's happening. They're happening because they got paid really well for it. And to them, that was worth it.
Although that's an interesting other issue as well, is that, you know, there is so much abuse and basically like human slavery involved in a lot of the prostitution, in a lot of the pornography as well.
It is true.
I do worry about that.
And that goes back to the factory farm thing. You have to acknowledge that. Like, you can't just ignore it.
I cannot wait for truly realistic simulations. Like once they get, because
the holodeck.
Like, well, it's the holodeck. It's also even just like if you could just have animated characters that are like real enough that you know, the sexy real enough that does it for me. Fantastic.
God, we're so
then I'm
close.
not feeling guilty because I don't have to worry about whether they're actually of age. You know what I mean?
You're like red hair, 5'7", 110 pounds. This thing, you're
really
just typing in dimensions.
Old. Like
reticulating
totally
splines.
Yeah. I mean, you know, lynda.com. But it's but I think that is definitely an aspect of pornography that I worry about, is that there's I feel like there's almost there's an addictive nature to it, and there's a need to move up the extremes, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does.
You know,
absolutely it does. Yep.
Like in our day, back in my, like, literally, I'm going to sound like the oldest man alive here.
You got the mustache for it though, so we're good.
It was magazines was all we could find.
Yeah. It was like, you must know what was it? The bald and the busty or something like that. You know, some like rag off of a.
Even that was like an element above what, like, for the most part, it was like Penthouse and Playboy.
Yeah.
And Penthouse was the really, you know.
Yeah, like that guy back in the day, like everybody, well, actually, I was going to say everybody wanted to shoot him, but I think he actually did get shot, didn't he? Isn't that like what paralyzed him?
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Penthouse guy.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, yeah, everybody wanted to shoot him. Somebody did. Yeah.
Larry Flint, that's right.
Yep,
but
I remember that.
The idea there was that, like, it just seems tame compared to what's out there on the internet now. My theory is that the kids come in at, like, up here. Like, hey, explore whatever you like. I embarrass the crap out of my poor son because I'm like, you know, I try to bring it up as much as possible, sex, because I don't want him, like, we talk about violence, we talk about shootings, we talk about why the hell shouldn't we talk about something that everyone's going to be doing that's natural anyways? You know, I don't want God or politics or any, like, as long as you're doing something that doesn't hurt yourself or it doesn't hurt someone else.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, that's a blanket statement for everything.
Yeah. And yet, the movies that I watch with my son are all people getting their brains blown out. We love it. Action. Woohoo. Watch how they died. I mean, we revel in that stuff.
Oh my God, a boob. Turn it off. Turn it off.
Exactly. And
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's weird that we're programmed that way.
Yeah, so true.
No, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because I'll do the same thing. I'll be in the room watching something that's like, oh, wow, man, like an RPG hit that thing and blew it up, and there's like 4 people in there. Like, they were vaporized. And you're like, oh, man, this action movie's awesome. Yeah, exactly. And then like some woman walks by, and it's like, something slips out. And it's like, no, turn it off. Xander, get out of the room.
Well, that's so funny, because Baz, see, I don't. I go like, hey, want to see that again? And Baz is like out of there. He's gone. He won't watch the movie. That's it. You know what I mean?
Actually, my kid's self-censoring too now. Like, he'll literally just leave the room if he hears a bad word. It's funny.
If I want to get rid of Baz, I just go like, oh, Mom and I had sex today. Goes, oh, God! It's just. But again, I feel like as horrible as that is for him, and as the last thing I would want to hear from my parents, I feel like he needs to know that stuff. Like, he needs to know that it's just all part of. You know,
right. That's the thing, is like, the only reason that we have that response is because in our generation, that was the appropriate response.
Yes.
Decided by people that shouldn't have made that decision.
By puritanical, white, Christian, straight.
It's like my friend went to Bulgaria. So my friend, this is a while ago. This is like 10 years ago. My friend Jake goes to Bulgaria, and he comes back and he's showing me his vacation pictures. And like, nobody has a top on. Nobody, like on the beaches, like, no, just like in France, Bulgaria, that's a thing, right? People walk around town, like, it's just, they don't look at it the same way we do. And so you look at that over here, and my friend's like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe it, dude. Look at this. He's like flipping through. He's like, oh my God, this is just what happens over there. But everybody that lives in Bulgaria is just like, nah. Like, nobody cares. It's because it's there. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's only interesting because you're not exposed to it. And everybody tells you that it's bad or it's weird or it's devious.
Like guys walk around with their tops off, and Jesus, some of them have got bigger breasts.
I got way bigger man titties than I'll go toe to toe, man. I'd win a wet t-shirt contest. I'll tell you what.
But again, and why is that any less like it's okay for men to do that, but not women?
We have weird double standards. Like really, that's such a bad thing that we do, and we input those on other people too. That's the other thing is like that's why I like to try to look at things from a third party perspective. And I always have. Like, I'm not always successful at it because we all have biases. We have to break ourselves of them. But it's like,
I love judging.
Yeah. And judging is just a human. That's as natural as sex. Like, you were literally born to eat shit, sleep, have sex, and judge people. That is like literally like the only things you do naturally as a human being.
Right.
You know, it's like everything else is a programmed behavior. But it is kind of interesting that, in a society, we pretty much like, judge things that shouldn't be judged. Don't judge things that should be judged. Like you said, like the killing in movies, like that should be higher in the scale, right? Like vaporizing humans and glorifying killing humans should definitely be higher in the don't expose children to scale than like two people making love or a woman walking around with their top off. Like that doesn't.
Which is weird because I would rather watch people being vaporized with my son than watching people having sex. Like
because we're that's literally like what we're supposed to believe. Like it's indoctrinated into us.
Guilt. Yeah.
Exactly. My parents were the same way as you too. Like I remember when I was a kid, I used to make a joke because my friend lived with me. Jake, same guy. Jake, he lived with me, and he would always like come in and hand me the phone, and he'd be like, "Oh, your parents said they're going to have sex. Here, you answer the phone this time because we trade whenever they were in the room, we traded whoever answered the phone because they get calls all day for shit." And so they'd bring in the phone, and my mom would just say that she'd just walk in there and be like, "Oh, me and your dad are having sex. Answer the phone or whatever." They go in and lock the door, and I'd be like, "Oh my god!" Like
My dad was OB-GYN, did infertility. Like he's,
completely desensitized. Yeah. Like,
and but he wasn't at all.
Oh, really?
He would talk about SE. Like it was like a joke in the family. He was so British. Like you don't get more uptight than a British male gynecologist. Like it's certainly from my experience. I mean, it was, he could quite happily at the dinner table discuss all of the clinical details of everything that related to female anatomy or male genitalia, whatever. I mean, he could discuss that with clinical detail. But if I said like they had sex, he'd be like, "Go to your room." Like,
wow.
What? Like, oh yeah.
Like, see, I had a different experience with a friend growing up. I went to the same place where I met my wife, this alternative school choice. I had a friend, his name was Brett Larson. So you guys can go say hi to him if you can find him. Super like raised up, conservative, gun shooting dude. Used to go over and shoot with him all the time on his own private range out on his family's. His dad was a mortician though. So his dad was basically an undertaker, right? So, and I remember the first time I ever went over to his house and I sat down for dinner because they were like a traditional Christian family, sit down, say the prayer, eat the dinner. And when you're a kid, you go along, right? You do when in Rome. So I go along and then during the entire dinner, he's literally like graphically describing how he had to like go through and do like basically like an autopsy on this like 16-year-old girl that was in a horrific car accident. And while we're eating dinner, and the family, like Brett's like, "Oh yeah, Dad. Oh yeah. Oh that sounds like that was a rough day. Oh yeah, no, I did this." And they're just talking about it casually, and I'm literally sitting there like shaking, like, should I be hearing this? Like I felt so weird about it. But then like I used to hang out with them all the time. It just by the end of it, it just became like that was just normal talk.
It's what you get used to. Exactly.
You just get used to it. Yeah. It's really
everyone's
weird.
freaking out about how the kids are reacting to the pandemic. I'm like, they don't know that this doesn't happen. In my case, my son's 12 years old. Yeah. He doesn't know this doesn't happen every 12 years. I mean, like this is normal to him. This is just part of growing up for him.
Yeah, it's kind of like the people. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe those kids don't go outside anymore. It's like, dude, they were like raised playing video games, talking to friends on a headset. To them, that's normal. That was us going outside and throwing rocks at each other.
Yeah, I mean, and only because we had to. I mean, if there was, I'd much rather be inside watching TV.
Dude,
I wasn't allowed to.
I think it's funny that nobody talks about like the bad decisions that we made when we were kids that like the internet is actually saving us from. Right? It's the whole pro versus con, right? It's like we used to get into trouble and like break the neighbors' windows out of their shed. We used to throw rocks at each other.
Fires.
Dude, we couldn't afford paintball guns. Yeah, fires, right? We did that too. We lit a bush on fire and almost burned down the whole woods. You know, we were lucky to get the garden hose.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That wasn't me, by the way. If anyone asked, it wasn't me.
We built a potato gun that split a utility pole. Like literally shot the utility pole and it put a crack through it. And we ran off, and like 2 weeks later, like a utility company was sagging. The utility company had to come out and put 2 braces on it and put metal straps around it. Like,
how did you do that?
Dude, we literally like put a bunch of cans together. Like we took a bunch of cans and we taped them together because we didn't have any PVC. We just duct taped a bunch of cans together, and then we put a Folgers can at the end, punched a bunch of holes in the bottom of it, and we couldn't find any hairspray, so we used butane. And I don't know, we got the mixture just right in that sumbitch, and it just blew the gun apart, and the potato hit the pole and just vaporized. And then you heard like a creaking sound, and there was a crack. I don't know if it was like already kind of cracked, but whatever we did to it, like sent that crack the rest of the way through it. And the pole was like literally like doing this under the weight of the wires.
Well,
and we were like, oh shit, we did. So we ran away. We were hoping they definitely noticed the boom. Like it was way louder than we were expecting. It rang all of our ears. Our first impulse was just to drop everything. We didn't even take the potato. The potato gun was just laying there on the ground in pieces. Like we didn't even take it. We just dropped it and just ran as fast as we could.
It's so true. Yeah.
And
I blew myself up.
How'd you do that?
Well, again, I would have gone to jail if nowadays, because so what I did was we were only allowed to buy a certain number of caps. You know, like the strips of caps.
Yep, I was a big cap gun enthusiast growing up.
Oh my God, I loved it. I actually preferred the rockets. I preferred the ones you could throw, and then they would come down and they'd hit and they'd go. And
you put the little cap on the tip, right?
I love that.
I remember those.
So cool. Then they went to the plastic ones, even better.
Yeah.
Except that the paper ones, what I would do is I would strip them and I would scrape off all of the gunpowder.
Yep. Make a bigger boom.
So I did that and I was only allowed to buy, I think it was like 10 at a time or something. I did it for like months. I had an entire toilet roll, literally, because I took it. It was a toilet roll filled with this powder.
You literally made dynamite, basically.
I literally made dynamite. Well, I mean, again, a lot of it's just for the spark. But so I do this. I tape it all up. I bring it to school.
Oh my God!
Like literally, I had been shot.
Like today, that's a felony, right? That would be on the national news. They'd bring in like the bomb squad. Yeah.
So I had it all taped up. I was like, no one's gonna fuck with me because I got a bomb. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my God, like what did you do? Oh my God, what are we gonna blow up? Like and I was like, someone bet me that I couldn't blow up a bicycle. I was like, this could blow up like 5 bicycles.
Oh my God.
So I brought it to school, and then some.
So you got a bomb and you're literally threatening kids with it. Well, basically.
No. It wasn't so much threatening kids. I was threatening their bicycles.
I
was basically someone said I couldn't blow up a bicycle, and I said I think I could blow up a bicycle. So I built this thing. I bring it into school to blow up the bicycle. Some wise ass goes, "How are you gonna light it?" And I was like, "Fuck!" I hadn't thought of lighting it. So I go home that weekend, and I'm like, "Got it." And I took string, I dipped it in lamp oil. I thought, perfect, it'll be a slow fuse. I'll get time to get out of there.
Oh no.
I dry it.
Yep.
I'm holding it like this. I put it on the table and I go, I'll just punch a hole in to put in the fuse. Bang. I don't remember anything. It went off.
Wow.
The screwdriver, I'm not kidding, was embedded past the handle in the roof of my bedroom.
You got so lucky.
There was a smoldering hole in the table that I've been working on. My hand was just like a bloody mess, and I had no eyebrows and like all the top of my hair. And the doctor said, "You are so lucky."
Yeah.
That it blew up because I hit it at the top. It blew down. If it had gone if any of it had gone off if it hadn't been so well wrapped, and of course my parents were home at the time. It was there was a poor young woman who was looking after us, from England or something, who didn't know what to do, but she said that she'll never forget. She came in the room and there was like a cloud of smoke and me standing there like this with like my hair all over the place.
You were so lucky you did. You know what saved you was it wasn't the packing as much as it was you didn't compress it. You just filled up that tube, didn't you?
That's it. I didn't.
If you had have tamped that down, that would have vaporized you, dude. That would have been there would have been a head and a hand.
Yeah.
Oh, that is crazy.
No kidding. Well, I'm amazed I still have my hand and my eyes, honestly.
That's
because But,
dude, I've had like an M80 go off next to me and like the percussive force like ripped my pants. So like I'd imagine if you had to tamp that down, that would have like literally blew like a crater.
It's gunpowder. Like it's literally just gunpowder.
Wild. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh my God,
and
dude.
It's also stupidity. That's how dumb you are as a kid. If they had the internet now, I would have done it properly.
Yeah, you know what's funny is back in those days, like if the teacher had caught you, like you took it out of your bag and the teacher saw it, they wouldn't have called the bomb squad. They would have like taken it away.
Take it away, and you'd got a detention.
Yeah, it would have been in her drawer for like a bomb would have been sitting in the teacher's like drawer along with other people's like whistles and whoopee cushions for like a year.
Yeah,
you know, because I had a similar story, except for I didn't almost kill myself or even come close to it. I took a BB gun to school, so I got this really cool BB gun. It was one of those ones where you cock it once and you put it up and it like fires like a freaking BB at like Mach 10. And it was the coolest thing ever. It was the most powerful BB gun I ever had. And I was so proud of it that I put it in my backpack and I took it to school. I think this would have been in the 2nd grade. And we were taking it out on the playground and shooting it into the woods because there was like woods along the side of the playground. So we were back there and we were just shooting it into the woods. We were shooting at trees, shooting at leaves and stuff, taking turns, taking shots. And the recess lady literally like walks over to us and says, "Hey, you guys can't have that at school." And she comes over and literally takes my BB gun away from me. And I shit you not, they gave it back to me at the end of the day. And I put a loaded BB gun in my backpack, got on the bus and drove home. If that happened today, oh my God, dude, there'd be like Black Hawk helicopters swinging around like, "What are your demands, kid? I'm just shooting my BB gun. What are your demands?" You know?
Yeah.
It's a whole different world now, but people don't really understand it. Like, yeah, back then, like in the 80s.
What do you think it is? Is it, I mean, I feel like kids do stupider things now because they again, there's an escalation that happens because of what they've seen online.
Because it's more taboo, they want to do it more, basically. It's kind of what I think. It's just like the escalation is like, oh, it's exciting because you're not supposed to do it or see it, right?
But they're so woke as well, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're so, like, I feel like they're so aware of all the terrible things that can happen in the world. And then you see them doing, like, donuts in their car in a crowds of people in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, that's what's happening up here anyways.
Or like the Skull Breaker Challenge. Oh my God, when I saw that one, I wanted to just punch the shit out of so many people. I was like, if you do that to my kid, there's going to be some skulls breaking. It ain't going to be his.
Oh my God. Well, there was the one, what was it? The happy slapping was the other one that was back. Do you remember that?
No, I haven't heard of that one. What's the happy slapping?
So you'd have your camera phone going and you just walk up to people you don't know, slap them in the head and then run away.
Yeah, you're going to get your ass kicked like 90% of the time doing that.
Slapping old lady. No, but they're like doing like old ladies.
Oh,
they're doing like mothers with children. They're doing like it was happening in London, England. I remember that. I was like, what the hell? But again, it's just to get a really cool reaction from somebody, and you got them on camera, and then you run away. Now, I also point out to people that, and then you go to jail because you've got the footage. Like, it's literally you filmed your own crime and said, "Here, it's me." Because they'll often go like, "Aha, see what I did?"
That's what happened with the Skull Breaker Challenge. Like 3 kids that like did permanent damage, recorded it and put it on TikTok. And they literally went right to their door and arrested them and charged them and used their own video against them in the court.
What is the Skull Crusher Challenge? What is
the Skull Breaker Challenge is where you basically walk up to somebody who's usually a friend or somebody who wants to be in your in crowd, and you say, "Hey, we're doing a social media video. Do you want to be a part of it? It's going to be awesome. We're here. You stand in the middle. We're going to stand on the side. We're just going to jump around and do this dance." And then what you do is, as you're jumping around, the other 2 signal each other and they kick their legs out from underneath them mid jump so that they fall down on their head. So like you're all 3 people are like jumping around like this, and then the 2 swipe the legs of the guy in the middle unknowingly, and you try to flip them over so they come down on their head on the pavement. And they literally like I think one kid died. If he didn't, he got like severely brain damaged from it. And they were like, "Oh, it was just a joke. It was just a prank. Everybody's doing it." And it's like, what did you think was going to happen? You kick somebody's legs out on concrete. Like there is no soft landing, and you can't really like catch yourself. Because you're not expecting it, right? Your legs get kicked out and you're like upside down heading towards the ground.
No, but again, that's my issue. That's why I worry a little bit about this stuff maybe we're not our own worst enemies on this stuff. Because I think if you see enough of those videos where it just ends up with them getting up and laughing, you're like, what's the problem?
That's true.
You don't think and also at that age, especially us gentlemen, tend to be kind of bad about thinking things through as to what the actual consequences are, right?
Yeah, especially if you are, and I think this is why a lot of crimes happen too, right? It's because you are so fixated and excited about the result that you don't think about where it could go, or what the consequences are because you're so excited. And I think the thing I'll call it camera culture, right? Where people want their 15 seconds of fame and like everybody can do it. They're willing to do stuff that is very, very risky, and they're not thinking about the risk. It's not like Evel Knievel where they're like calculating this shit out and figuring out the odds. They're just like so excited about the outcome of it that they don't even entertain the possibility of what happens if it goes horribly wrong.
And the camera protects them, or they feel like the camera protects them.
Like the cinnamon challenge. The cinnamon challenge put so many people in the hospital because it's an irritant. And if you inhale when you cough, like if you put that in your mouth and you don't swallow it and you cough, you immediately inhale sharply. All that irritant goes into your lungs and it can literally kill you.
And you got asthma?
And you got, and even if you survive, it still like permanently damages your lungs for a very, very long time. And it's like,
Not
wow,
to mention,
people don't think about it.
Fucks you up. Like that stuff it's got effects like similar to, God knows, I don't know what, I can't remember what it is now. This someone did a great, actually one of the YouTubers did a great analysis of what exactly the various different things were that happened. It's like someone took an entire bottle of it, mixed it in a power shake, and drank it. And that was it was just like, again, a YouTube video.
Wow.
But then he ended up at hospital.
Yeah.
And these were the various different things that he had to get treated because of it. So
yeah, it's a massive irritant. Like if you didn't know that, like cinnamon it's like you could literally like mist cinnamon in somebody's eyes and it'll be like pepper spray. It's bad. It's a really bad irritant. Because it's a spice. It's not supposed to be used in like massive quantities. You're supposed to like sprinkle a little in like a freaking recipe that makes like 24 cookies and everybody tastes the cinnamon more than anything else. You know, it's like, but that's the whole thing is these challenges are supposed to have risk. It's kind of like when you go to the circus and you watch people operating without a net, right? They take the net away and all of a sudden it's more exciting, even though it's the same exact thing you're watching. Like it's not exciting to watch a guy go out there who's like in a fully protected suit and you get a 100% guarantee he's not going to get hurt and he goes and tries some. It's not death defying.
To be the risk.
The risk is what makes it exciting. But the difference now is those people calculate the risk, right? Every person that does that like professionally, well, I won't say every, but most of the people do it professionally. They calculate the risks out and they know what's going to happen. Like they've done the work, they got the right people involved. Don't try this at home, kids, right? And then you got the people that are in front of the camera that just see it on TV replicated and look so effortlessly that they try to do it themselves without realizing that, no, that was like, that took a lot of technical stuff to do. Like I watched like a jump his car. Did you see the video? Like I think it was like a Tesla. Was it David Dobrik or something? He jumps a Tesla like through an intersection, gets the thing like 4 feet in the air and lands it on like the downslope, like on a hill in like San Francisco. And luckily,
San Francisco.
Luckily he lands it and it works, right? He lands the thing and it keeps going. I'm sure he broke suspension on it, but he keeps going and it's fine. But it's like, dude, did you even think about like what happens if you had to land it even the slightest bit sideways?
Like there was no lock off or anything.
Nothing. Dude, it's like the smoothest thing. Like the dude looked like he was who knows? Maybe he put a professional driver in the car and just lied and said it was him. But dude, it is the most perfect jump you've like ever seen in a car that weighs like 5,000 pounds.
Yeah,
he's like, but if that had gone wrong, like I can tell you, I've jumped a car twice, once intentionally and once unintentionally, and I landed like doing probably 90 or 100 miles an hour. I landed slightly off. I mean, it wasn't even a lot, and the car just started whipping. Like I was like hand over hand, go all over the lanes, everything, and just barely got it back before going off the road. And I'm like, the Tesla weighs twice as much as my car.
Jesus.
And he jumped it probably 5 times as high as I did. So it's pretty amazing. But the thing is now, if they watch that video, right, how many kids out there now are like just running their parents' cars off jumps?
Well, that's what we're seeing in like Hamilton and Toronto is instead of like they're defying the pandemic response and they're all gathering in groups of idiots and they do burnouts in the freaking parking lot and stuff, but they're surrounded by people. And I'm like, dude, if you lose control of that car, you're going to kill the people that you hit. You know? It's
one thing to risk your life. It's another thing to risk others, right?
I sound so, but that's it.
I know.
Risk your own life. If you want, that's just Darwinism at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, although Darwin is, I think, we tend to use Darwin as an example of like survival of the fittest. It's not actually the case.
We've circumvented Darwin. Our technology is beyond Darwinism now.
Yeah.
Like we literally, we design technology to keep people alive that don't want to be alive.
I mean, look, it's one of my favorite ones was we got this pram. Oh, not a pram. I'm sounding very British. A baby carriage, a stroller, and it had in the instructions it said, "Do not fold with child inside." I'm like,
oh my God,
really? If you have a child, how did you work out how to have a child if you have to be told not to fold it with the child in it?
Yeah, or like the laundry detergent. It's like swallowing this will cause death, and they make a whole challenge out of swallowing it. Like,
yeah.
You can't even say it. You can't even say what that challenge is because it's literally so blacklisted on YouTube and Twitch, and even on Twitter. I got a 24-hour ban for saying
rat poison.
Yeah,
don't eat rat poison. It says on the box. You're like, really? Like, okay, good idea. Because damn, I was just thinking about doing that, but luckily on the box it says don't eat the rat poison that kills rats.
Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. Here, I want to thank a couple of these super chatters that's been building up. You guys are freaking awesome. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? Let me scroll down here a little bit, make sure I don't miss anybody. Let's see. Okay, so wow, has there been that many people? My God. Hold on here,
We've been talking a
jeez.
lot. I'm really bad at distracting you.
No, this is great. So let's see, Barna Hewlett, we read that one. There we go. Nightfire, thank you for the $10 super chat earlier. He said, a bit off topic. I was setting up a Minecraft server on my PC, and all the tutorials say to, and then of course it gets truncated because I got to full screen it. All the tutorials say to connect using a public IP, but it didn't work. I ended up having to connect using my IPv4 address. What do you mean connect using a public IP? Your IPv4 address is a public IP. Like, I guess I don't know. Do you understand what he's saying there? He said, my Minecraft server on my PC, all the tutorials say to connect using a public IP. But he said he had to use his IPv4 address, but that is your public IP. Like if you have an IP address and it's facing the internet, that is your public IP address. If you have an internal IP address like 192.168, are you talking about your private IP address, like your internal network? I
get it to work. I can never get it to work because of all the security things. It was firewall. I just turned all my firewalls off, and I shouldn't say this, should I? But I just turned all my firewalls off, and everything was the only way I could get it to work.
You're done, man. Everything's hacked by the end of the day. Like you're done. Yeah. So okay, I think I know what he's saying. Somebody in chat also said he's probably talking about his WAN, his internal IP address, or sorry, his LAN. Right. So like 192.168.0.1 or 10. something. Right. Yeah, that's going to work to connect to your server internally. The reason you can't connect using the public IP address is because you have to open it up through your firewall, and you have to also use network address translation on your router to forward the packets to it. So you have to log into your router. The easiest way to do it, if you don't have anything running on that server other than the Minecraft server, like you're not worried about it potentially being hacked, just set your DMZ to the IP address of that computer. So if you go on your router, look for a setting that says DMZ, that's demilitarized zone, put in your local IP address of that computer, so your 192.168 blah blah blah. Now when you try to connect external using the public IP address, your router will route those packets to the internal IP address, and it'll fix everything, and you'll be just fine.
I should totally do that.
I think it'll work.
I gave up and did Realms because I got sick and tired of kids going like, I can't get into the server. So we ended up like renting Realms. It's like $5 a month or something like that. I mean, it's like
just have somebody else host it. That's probably smart. Like honestly, like hosting servers at home.
The Realms is it's done by Microsoft. I know we're giving the beast money and all, but the reality is that it's just easy. And there's also great, really cheap Minecraft hosting out there.
Yeah, I think it's some of the cheapest. Like I think it's some of the cheapest hosts you can buy for anything. Like I've seen like $5 or $10 a month Minecraft hosting. I mean, it's like only up to what is it, like 16 or 32. They usually have limitations, right?
Oh god, huge limitations, and you often get a lot of lag. I've had some that are just we signed up for like a $3 one, and it was like they were very sweet and they wanted me to stay, but I was like, dude, like it's like stuttering while we're playing. You
get what you pay for, right? So
exactly. But that's an interesting question. So here's a question for you. What the fuck is going on? I'm allowed to swear. I love it.
Yeah, swear all you want, dude.
You've got the Java, you've got the Bedrock. And you've got the mobile. I just want them all together. I just want them all as one. I don't want to have two different types of Minecraft because I've got half of my tech bandits are Bedrock. And they're usually the ones who don't know what they've got.
So are these like modded versions of it, or are they different, like actual official versions?
There's a Java version, and then there's a Bedrock version.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you have to basically buy them separately. I think that the Bedrock version is also the mobile version. So for the most part, that's fine. But none of the nerds want to use the Bedrock version because apparently you can't do the mods on it the way you can with the Java.
Which would make sense, yeah, because it's completely different language, right?
No, Kentucky Ranger, you're not glad you never got into Minecraft. It's freaking amazing. It's great.
I used to be a huge Minecrafter, dude. Back in the day, I used to post videos with mods and all that stuff, and then I got out of it when, dude, there was a time where, this was probably about 3-4 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but there was a time where it's like anybody that played Minecraft that was over the age of 18, basically 4chan just went after him and labeled him a pedo and made up all kinds of false allegations and literally got like every single Minecrafter banned off YouTube. Like literally, it was like every single one. I don't know a single Minecrafter that like went through that period where they didn't get attacked. So
I only ever did it with Baz, so I was probably safe because it's like father and son.
No, exactly. And in that case, I think it'd be okay. But it was weird. It's just it started off with like one guy, and then it just cascaded because the drama was like so big in the community and it got so many views that like everybody started shifting their channels to drama channels to go after Minecrafters.
Well, Baz's friends are talking about this all the time. They're like the latest. All the gossip is like, oh my god, guess. So that makeup YouTuber is a pedo, and this one that. And
exactly.
I was like, what do you even know about that? Like, You know,
yeah, I
all
saw
of
one
that.
guy get his entire career ruined. Like he was literally like, I think he was the third largest Minecrafter in the world. Got his entire career ruined, raked through the coals, lost his fiance, lost his house, got forced to move back with his parents,
Was
had
it
to
legit?
disappear for like years. All this happened because of an allegation from the next biggest Minecrafter who was going off of bad information. And then in the end, when he admitted he was wrong and the other people that like destroyed his career admitted they were wrong, nobody saw it. Still to this day, like half the people don't know that they apologized for completely destroying his life because everybody sees the drama, but nobody goes back to look at like the corrections.
It's funny. I've had discussions
so
with
bad.
Baz. I've had discussions with Baz about this because I'm like, look, you can't. First off, it's not like calling someone an idiot. If you call someone a pedo, like that is like you're. I was like, this
Yeah,
is
that's a
what
serious
this means.
allegation.
You know, and you know, as a kid who unfortunately grew up with some of these issues myself, I was like, you know, like this is like you're bringing up stuff for people who these are things you don't want to think about. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's not.
like there's
It's
PTSD
not pretty.
element there.
Yeah. You know, I was very, very lucky, but there were other people who were involved with the same guy that I was that were not as lucky.
Oh
So,
yeah,
you know.
I dodged some bullets growing up too, where it's like,
Oh my God.
you know, I like even at my school, like even growing up, we even had a teacher that I found out later on, like long after I left the school. So he was still teaching for years after I went there, that he got busted messing around with the students. And this was a 6th grade class. So I don't know what the age for that would be, but like what, like maybe 13, 16, what, how old is it?
No, not even.
Not
Baz
even, so
is
12 or?
It's gonna be 10-year-olds.
That's crazy. See, so he was, and he got popped for that, like literally got caught at school. And you're like, that guy has been teaching for like 20 years. I highly doubt that was the first incident.
Well, and you gotta be this again. This is one of the reasons why I want to talk. Why I want Baz talking about this stuff. Like, I want to know. Like, I had a good enough relationship with my family where I was like, I said, you know, I remember my mom talking about this guy and like, oh, what a great guy he is, and I was like, no, he's not. And she's like, why not? And I'm like, well, because of this. And she's like, oh, well, that's not right. That's, you know, so it was thankfully I had enough of a relationship that before it escalated, because there were other kids who didn't have that relationship with their parents. And
They were just getting groomed by this person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So, and he went on for years. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I have problems with with religious groups is because, you know, he was protected by his church.
Yeah, you basically raise your kid to be like, you can trust these people. Like you can confide in these people. And no. Like and again, I mean, this is my opinion. You're welcome to differ, but it's like, that's why I believe that you should teach your kid, like you don't have to teach them everything about sex, but you should let them know what bad looks like so that they can identify the situation and get out of it.
If anything feels weird, just talk to your folks. That's it. That's all you need to do. Or talk to somebody who you trust. I mean, it doesn't even have to be your parents.
Yeah.
But it's just letting them know that it's okay to go like, you know what? This doesn't make me, I'm uncomfortable with this. Yep. It doesn't matter if you're wrong, because you can be wrong. That's fine. That's great. But for the most part, your kid intuitions are pretty good on this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep. Like, another thing too is like, let them know that it's okay. Like if it is anybody other than your parents, and we even do this, like even with the doctor, like we have to be, we are present if anything happens to the doctor. Cause one, he's on the spectrum. So it changes things a little bit, but we definitely taught him from a very young age, like what things to identify, that if anybody asks you to do this, you should immediately say no and leave. Because the thing is like a lot of people that get attacked at a young age, because I have some friends that went through it, and they opened up to me and they said a lot of the problem is they don't realize that it's wrong, even though it's like weird or it doesn't make any sense. They don't understand that it's wrong because it's not something they understand at all. It's like somebody saying, let's go skip rocks. Like they don't get it. And so they go with the flow because they're taught to respect their elders. Like these are people that are there to protect me. And so you want to teach them of the signs, because those people will not prey on high risk kids. Like that's one thing. Like there are cases, obviously, there's always exceptions to the rule. But one thing you find out about these guys that have managed to get away with it for so freaking long is that they target people that are close to them that will keep secrets, that really think that they're going to get in trouble if they say anything. Like they literally buy the bullshit. Yeah, exactly. So
and there's so much grooming. There's so much looking back at the conversations that you've had, even in front of the family.
Yeah.
Where there's like, they'll say things that they then can say later because they've said them in front of the family. You go, which are completely misinterpreted, obviously taken by the parents as one thing, and in private means something completely different to us because, you know.
Yeah.
No, it's shocking. But at the same time, I think the other thing that I find that I think we are going to see change, and this is probably not a popular take on it, and then the only reason why I feel comfortable about it is because of my own experiences. I think that while there are definitely some evil predator predators out there.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be something wrong with you if you are attracted to such young kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think we got to stop throwing these people in jail. We got to start figuring out how they work because we got to fix this. This is just And
the thing is, did that happen because they were abused? That's something they're finding out now. Is they're finding out that a lot of people that end up being the abuser were the abused, right? Because that happened at a young age. That was ingrained. They felt like they wanted to be the abuser. Like they were mad about their experience, or they hated what happened to them, so they want to be the abuser. It's kind of like the bully or the person that gets bullied turning into the police officer so he can go and arrest a bunch of people, right?
Go kick the shit out of people. Yeah,
exactly. It's kind of like so. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but I'm saying that I think that people that are abused are much likelier.
Yeah, I really hope not. From my perspective, I really hope not.
Yeah. We're all gonna go become police and just pull people over.
If I start getting the wrong urges, I'll let you know.
But I think a really good really good way to handle that though is to talk to your kids at a young age. You don't have to explain sex or even sexuality if you don't want to, but do tell them that if certain people ask you certain things, they ask you to show you things, they touch you in an inappropriate place and explain what an inappropriate place is. You don't even have to explain why it's inappropriate. Young kids.
Show us on the puppet.
Exactly. And we did that with Xander, and we even do drills with him where we say things to him and gauge his responses and test him and make sure that he knows, because the thing is, if he gets in a situation where somebody's trying to groom him and he starts showing resistance and he starts looking like he's going to be the leaker, he's going to be the one that goes and tells everybody, which my son literally, he can't keep a secret. There's no way he can. Which I'm very thankful for. He confesses everything. So
Baz is lovely that way.
Yeah. It's like, and then you start building trust.
It's trust. It's trust. I mean, that's to me, it's the greatest honor as a parent, is to have your kid come up to you and go this confuses me or whatever. You know what I mean?
My kid has no shame. That's one thing I'm super, super proud of, is I raised my kid with absolutely no shame. No shame at all. He literally, to the point sometimes where I even have to have shame for him and be like, kid, simmer down. Some of the stuff that he does. And so I'm glad that I did that. But at the same time, it's I do have to teach him that there are bad people out there. There are people that want to do bad things to him. Yeah. And I do agree with you 100% that those people do have, some damage. They do. You don't come to that conclusion naturally without having some kind of damage. Whether what you witnessed while you were growing up, it could be, it literally could even be just chemical imbalances in some cases, right?
Look, I'm sure in many cases that
there's a lot of cases. So, but here's the thing. Here's what I've always said is that if you can wrangle it here, then you're not hurting anybody. The second you act on it, though, in any capacity, the second that you act on it, you are fully 100% responsible. It's the same as if you get drunk and you go drive a car and you plow into somebody and you kill them. It's that is your fault. Yeah. You can't say, oh, I was drunk. I didn't mean to do that. That was an accident. It's no, the second that you manifest anything, just like when you're driving along and BMW driver cuts you off and you're I hope his car explodes on fire and, he crashes into a tree and everybody dies. You don't really want that to happen. If that actually happened while you were thinking that, you would pull over and call for help. And be oh my God, right? It's because it's that is a bad thing. Whether it pops into your head or not, it's a bad thing. You should not act on it. The second you do, though, it's game over at that point.
You've made an active choice.
Exactly. That's kind of my line in the sand that I drew on that one. But it's absolutely get help. There's a lot of help out there.
But the creepy thing for me is I actually stopped listening to it. My wife made me stop because there was a whole podcast about these pedo hunter guys who discovered this. They discovered this massive. What was it called? Something warhead. But basically, the idea was that this guy was hacking the hackers. They found the largest site for and they don't call it child pornography because that gives it too much credit. They call it child abuse videos. So they found child abuse videos that they found the biggest repository of this stuff, and they found it was actually run by the government. It was run by the government because the police force had hacked into it and were trying to get enough information to actually stop the people who were making this stuff.
Oh, like a honeypot on torrent servers. They were basically trying to get people to come in so that they could record them and track them down.
But of course, no one wants to broadcast the fact that the police force is now running one of the largest pedophilia sites on the internet. It was extraordinary. And it was I found it incredibly interesting when it was all about how they tracked them. As soon as it got into the stories of the specific people, it was too disturbing for me. but what was neat about it was, or not neat, what was terrifying about it was the sheer volume of this stuff.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that's out there now. And that's terrifying to me.
Especially when you go global, right? When you go global, it's like there's countries where this shit isn't even prosecuted.
Yeah.
Like,
so there's a whole underground market for this stuff, which really worries me. I would rather that was out in the open. I would rather they were out going I would rather we weren't, running around with pitchforks trying to kill them. I'd rather they've at least felt like they could go, look, I'm having these horrible feelings. How do I go get treated for them, whatever, as opposed to hiding and suppressing the stuff. I worry about, I think, I don't know how you fight that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the other problem you have is a lot of them probably feel like they can't get therapy. Because then that's an admission. Even if they've never done anything, even if they're just having the thought and they'd say that to a therapist, they're going to feel like, oh, well, they're going to have to report me. And so they never actually get any help. Well, so it's you
and
almost.
And if I'm that therapist and I've got kids, there's no fucking way that.
Right. I mean, I can't even judge him for that because I'd be the same way. I'd be like, what the fuck? Dude.
But this is so my father, of course, had to go through stuff because he was a male and he was a gynecologist. So obviously he's in areas that, can get you in a lot of trouble at the wrong times, at the wrong places. And so he solved that. He always had there was always a nurse in attendance at all times.
That's actually, I think, law here in the United States. In the United States, you have to have another person present. Oh, now it is. Okay.
It didn't used to be. So my father had someone there all the time. With Tech Bandits, when there was a strike on here, there was a teacher strike here, so I had the kids at the house. I was like, my son is going to be around and my wife is going to be around. I don't or another mom or whatever, or we're streaming it so you can see what's going on. I was like, you just can't. That's not even just protecting yourself. That's protecting the kids as well. So they know they should never find themselves in a situation where you don't go into creepy, even if he's an actor, you don't go into their basement with them. Yeah. You don't do that. It's just not, no one in their right mind should ask them to do that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And there's again, I'm surprised in my childhood that I didn't have that problem because when I ran a BBS when I was a kid, I want to say I was only about 11 years old. I ran a BBS called the Federation. It was one of many BBSs that I ran. And so another BBS popped up. Yeah, the Federation. There's another BBS that popped up that named themselves the Klingon Empire. So naturally, this shows up on the BBS list. I'm like, I want to check this out. So I go log in, end up befriending the owner of this site, right? And we talk back and forth in chat. My parents have no idea about this. I'm talking to this guy, He ends up actually coming over to my house because he wants to give me a graphics card that's worth $250. My parents don't even think anything about it, right? I'm like, oh yeah, the stranger's going to come over. He ended up hanging out in my bedroom for 4 hours, going through a bunch of pirated software and giving me his library of software and helped me install this graphics card and doing all this stuff. And then we found out that after that, it's he had some kind of schizophrenia or something where he could have random outbursts. And so the whole time he was at my house, his mom literally sat out in the car. And he's at the time, I want to say he was 40 some years old. And I'm 11. His mom had to sit in the car in case he had an episode, but nobody told us about it. We didn't find out about this till later down the road.
Again, because there was shame, right?
Right, there was shame in it, right? So, and I mean, he was a really nice guy, but then sure enough, shit happened. His BBS ended up getting hacked by somebody, and he thought that it was me, not because of any logical reason, but because I ran a BBS called the Federation, and the Federation hates the Klingon Empire, so obviously I was the one that took him out.
Oh my God!
And
really?
So he started making threats to me. He started making threats to my family. We had to get the cops involved. And ultimately, I got in the newspaper for it because he even convinced the newspaper that I did it. So they ran an article saying, they couldn't name me. They're some 11 or 12-year-old kid hacks local BBS Klingon Empire. And I was like, are you shitting me? God. Yeah. So the cops even came to my house and tried to take my computer equipment away. But my parents were like, no, he was literally sleeping in the living room. He obviously didn't do it. And they did find out who did it. It turns out that it was another bulletin board system owner. So this led in some credence to him blaming me. Another bulletin board system owner logged in using my account because I used the same password on his BBS as I did on Klingon Empire. And so he was going around and using other people's accounts to log into rival BBSs and delete them.
Of course.
And so anyways, he got caught for it. And I don't know what happened, if anything legally happened, but it was it was so bad that this 40-year-old guy comes over and he's befriends me. And then within a month, he's attacking me and attacking my family and making threats to come to my house. And I mean, it was really scary. It was when I was young, because I didn't know any better, right? I'm is this guy gonna, my dad's oh, don't worry about it. If he comes, we're just gonna shoot him on sight. My dad was literally he didn't give zero fucks about anything, right? He was kind of a really abrasive dude. And so he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. If we see him drive up the driveway, I'll just walk outside and shoot him and bury him in the woods. And I'm like, is Dad joking?
Really? Well, probably not. If you're dealing with your kids,
he wasn't. Like, he absolutely wasn't joking. So luckily,
nothing goes. I don't go. I mean, like, I get grumpy all the time, but I'm like a blowhard. I don't actually do anything. But when it comes to the kid, oh my God, forget it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm like, you mess with my family, like mess with me all you want. Like that's fine. We'll go rounds, but you start messing with my family, I'm gonna take shit to new levels. Like,
yeah, you don't have to do much to get me going on that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the funny thing is, like, so I've had to involve law enforcement about 3 times now. Like, I log everything. Like, if I get a death threat or whatever, I immediately send it and tag it with the case number so that they add it to an ongoing file. And that turns out to be useful because one person ended up getting prosecuted, not for what they did to me, but because they did a search in the police database for phrasing and names and aliases, and they literally found the guy who was harassing me who took it too far with somebody else. And so they had me make a statement, and they used that. They did. I don't know whatever came of it. I couldn't find the court case, but apparently they got sued, like, rather badly. And I think the dude even had to do some jail time for it because he was over the age of 18. And they used me and many other people's evidence that was given to the police and culminated together to make the case against him.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. So always do that, you guys. If you get, like, even if it's not credible, like, report that shit. Like, absolutely
document everything. So true.
Yep. And your police department might not do anything in the beginning, but they'll open a case number, they'll add that stuff, and then if something comes up down the road where they attack another person, or they use a single alias, or they use an alias where it's linked to that alias, then they'll start culminating that data together, and then they'll take a statement from you, or they might even ask you to testify in court. But one thing that's been really helpful for is taking down swatters. So that's like been just, I mean, absolutely. And in my case, they actually did catch one of the swatters that attempted, because I have the paperwork on file, but they still record the incident. So they can't do it, but they still record the 911 call and they add that to the case number. So if it comes up, and sure enough, they found the dude. Like, I don't know if he dumb, didn't know how to go through, like, you know, VPNs and stuff like that.
Luckily, a lot of people are dumb.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, and it doomed them because the police, even though you can't get the IP address from an intermediate party, like, say, like Fire RTC or something like that, for making, you know, VoIP calls, it turns out that the police can actually just subpoena them without even a warrant. They can just ask them, and as long as it's a law enforcement agency, they usually comply and give them the info. That's how I caught my fraud guy. There was a guy who got $50,000 worth of products impersonating me over the course of 6 months. All the companies hit me up and they're like, "Where's our reviews? Where's our review videos? Like, why haven't you reviewed this yet?" I'm like, "I don't know who the fuck you are." Like half the companies, I didn't even know what they did. And I'm like getting this flood of mail coming in over the course of a month, and I find out that this guy has been bragging in the forums about how he's been impersonating a YouTuber. I go to eBay and find every single thing that he's stolen from the companies. Like, he listed them all under the same account, so I could tell it was him. Then I found him in a forum, but I could not figure out who he was and where he lived because he was using a drop shipper. So basically, he'd ship the products to a company that was close to me in, like, Portland, Oregon. And then they would drop ship it, like they were a commercial drop shipper and importer that would then ship it to his real address. He was having it shipped to his house. So I called up the drop shipper and I'm like, "Hey, can you guys give me this information? This person's stolen like $50,000 using your business." And they're like, "We're sorry, client data is protected. So unfortunately we can't do this." And I'm like, son of a bitch. So I go down and I talk to the police. And they're like, "Well, what information do you have?" So I give them my like 20-page dossier that I built on this guy.
Let me do your work for you. Yes.
Yeah. So the police literally that day, the police just called the drop shipper, and over the phone, the police officer just asked them for the information. He said, "Hey, I'm so-and-so police officer. Here's my badge number."
Oh, so next time, just do that.
Just do that. Just fake you're a cop and they'll probably still give it to you. He didn't even need a subpoena.
And then you go to jail for that, though.
Yeah. No warrant, no subpoena, anything. He just called him up. They immediately gave him the full name, the address, the phone number. And so I ended up calling the residence and got the dad. And I found out that the kid was living with the dad. And he said, "Oh, yeah, my son has been getting an abnormal number of packages." And he confirmed everything. And then his dad's like, "You know, what do we have to do to make this go away? You know, he's really a good boy. He just gets into trouble online sometimes." And I was like, no. I'm not going to let him off that easy. So
no, because that sounds like a dad who doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Exactly. So what I'm
gonna go interrogate Baz right after this.
Oh yeah, no worries. So I ended up telling him, I ended up telling the dad that the kid needs to return everything he's stolen. He has 15 days to do it, and if he doesn't issue an apology to all the companies, and even if he sold it on eBay, he needs to buy another one, give it back to him, or pay him back. He had 15 days to do it, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'll do it. And he was like flooding me with emails saying, "Oh my God, you found me. I'm so sorry. I didn't, I was just having some fun, blah, blah, blah." Anyways, I was like, "Save it. Return everything." Well, he didn't end up returning everything. He ended up lying to the companies and just apologizing to them, but not returning the product, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. I already sold it on eBay," even though the listings were still active. So he
Oh my
literally
God.
was still lying, and he didn't think the companies would mail me back, but they had me in all the threads on BCC, so they would just BCC it to me, and I'm like, well, he lied again. So I called him up and said, okay, well that's that. I couldn't sue him because he was 17 years old at the time. But what I did do through the investigation, now that I knew who he was, I got a guy, we'll just refer to him as a guy, to the private investigator to figure out what school he was going to, the college he was going to, and I found out that he had a full ride
college.
scholarship.
I was like, oh my God, wait, you hired a public investigator?
Dude, I was pissed at this guy. This guy literally wasted like hundreds of hours of my time trying to fix the relationships with the companies. And
it's
so
robbery.
So yeah, because I couldn't sue him, the only thing I could do is sue his parents because they were technically his legal guardians, which I was advised he was under 18, he was 17. So they said that I could sue his parents, but I'd have to literally travel to New York or hire a lawyer in New York to do it. And they said it'd be squeezing juice from a turnip because the parents probably aren't going to pay. They're probably just going to get out from underneath it. So the suggestion that was made to me is he had this full ride scholarship that was worth like an insane amount of money to a really prestigious college. Because it turns out the kid was also rich. He had a full ride scholarship because he was a really bright kid. Apparently he was like, I mean, that's why he was hacking, right? He was a computer programmer. He did all the scripting stuff and he just used his powers for bad. And he had a problem. He was a kleptomaniac. He was in this forum bragging about stealing stuff from stores every day on the way home from work. Like he just got a rush from it. And so anyways, what we did is we took the whole dossier and took the whole police file and printed it out. So all the cases that the police had, them contacting the dropshipper, all that information, I just sent it to the dean of admissions at his college. And the dean of admissions got back to me about a week and a half later and said, thank you for bringing this to my attention. We have handled it. And then I get this mail just like pleading to me, please fix it. He got his scholarship revoked. So he lost like
he could use the money he made on the freaking eBay.
Yep, he lost a $50,000 full ride scholarship and he was banned from ever attending that school, and it's on his permanent record. Because I gave him the opportunity. I was nice enough, even though he inconvenienced me, to give him the opportunity. All he had to do was return the shit and apologize. And instead he lied to all the companies again, still tried to sell the shit. And I was like, okay, enough's enough. And his parent, oh my God, his dad like called me because, you know, they had my number because I was talking back and forth. His dad calls me like, I could have just paid you. Like you could have just named a number and I would have wrote a check and I could have made this go away. Like, why would you do this to my son? I just hung up on him. I was like, don't call me again. Hung up. He never called me back.
But again, that's,
sorry, go ahead.
The thing where I feel like no.
Yeah.
I'm just it's my thing is like I feel like everyone feels like they're the exception.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that's the biggest issue that we have right now is that everyone feels like, yeah, these rules should be stuck to. Well, except that I, you know, like I'm in the, you know what I mean? Like everyone has, and I'm guilty of it as well. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we all are. We all are. Yeah.
And because of that, I feel like we go like, oh my God, I can't believe that person. The reality is and in fact, maybe I'm the opposite with Baz. I'm almost the opposite, where I assume Baz has done something terrible, and it invariably turns out that he hasn't. But my first assumption is like, what have you done? He's like, no, I got 100% of the test. I was like, yeah, but what? Were you like cheating or what happened? He goes, no, I got 100% of the test. Like I was like, really? For real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. But my assumption is always that he's done something wrong. Like why? So just because I would have definitely done something wrong. So, yeah.
Hey, did you need to get going, or are you just gonna go check on Baz?
No, I will. I promised Baz that I would come back at 3:30 at 3 o'clock. So, but I'll go till 3:30. That's the half an hour. That's for Dad. That's pretty good.
No worries. We definitely gotta get you out of here. Let me read the rest of these super chats here.
Yeah,
let's burn through these.
You know what? I'm gonna go pee really quickly, and I'll come back and we'll talk for another like 10.
Do it, man. Get after it.
All right.
So let's see here. Ian Scott Johnson, thank you for the 10 pounds. Said love Tech Talk. Great subject matter every time, dude. You're awesome. I love just nerding out with David. David and I, we just talk about literally anything. We're so far off the rails from the topics on this episode. It's not even funny, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely love it. Hey, Corey Gibson, thank you for the $5. He said, Jerry, he said, you sure you don't have autism? I'm not sure. I've never been actually diagnosed. He said, I have ADHD, like symptoms for my autism. Actually, after watching my son go through the ABA therapy, I am fairly certain I am on the spectrum. Although I have heard the ADHD now is actually kind of considered on the spectrum. Like the spectrum is very, very wide now. It casts a wide net. But no, I absolutely believe it's entirely possible that I'm on the autism spectrum. I just haven't been tested for it. Let's see here. Robert Greer, thank you for the $25 tip. That is so beyond generous, dude. He said, Barna Hewlett for the win. You two are awesome to watch and listen to. Thank you for the amazing ear and sexy eye candy. I mean, we try, I guess. Nightfire, thank you for the $10. Let's see here. Francis Sutherland, thank you for the 10 pounds. He said, check out Phone for an open source native Unix phone. Ooh, I'm going to write that down. So yeah, we were talking about that earlier. If there's a phone that actually runs Linux natively, so I'm going to check that. It's called Phone. Well, I mean, that's a hell of a good name. Thank you for the support, sir. Robert Greer, thank you for the $10. He said, lol, if all wired connections work, it's awesome cable management. He's talking about David. If you guys didn't see David's desk, literally looks like a cable farm. It looks like he has free range cables everywhere. It's awesome. Skylar Berman, thank you for the $2. He said, LIR videos, bro. What does LIR mean? Like, is it like your videos? I don't know. Dr. Essex, thank you for the $5 Canadian. Just found your channel. What? Great team up. Thank you, Dr. Essex. What's that?
Canadian, that's like nothing.
I know. He gave me 25 cents US. Thank you, sir. John Cripps, thank you for the 10 proper pounds. He said, thanks for the great show, peeps. Just wanted to show some support. I really do appreciate that. Brian PC, thank you for the 20 pounds. He says 1 + 1 = 2. So he is definitely not a part of the math flat earthers. Jose Contreras, did I say Contreras? Oh my God, I'm so bad. Jose Contreras, dude, now everybody's going to call him Mr. Contreras because I did that. I apologize. Thank you for the $2. I'm sorry I gave you a bad nickname for life. He said, hey, what's the best antivirus program for PC Windows 2020? I can tell you right now, just use Windows Defender. Like having 50 antivirus programs, not worth it. It's not worth it.
Oh, the built-in, and it's got access to the core. It's got access to everything.
Absolutely.
The other ones have to try to guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's super low overhead because it's built into the stack, unlike the other ones that are like sitting on top of a bunch of shit. And
yes, I washed my hands for like 30 seconds. I washed my stupid hands.
They ask me that every time I go to the bathroom. Dorney Harms, thank you for the €5, man. I appreciate it. Man, you guys have been awesome today. So I guess we can really touch on it really quick. What do you want to tell people about your little scary experience with the home security issue and what we need to do to shut them down?
Here's the funny thing, because I think because we're in Toronto, it has a different impact than I was very. Oh
my God! Tell the story real quick. I gotta go pee now, really bad. Hold on, give me a second.
All right,
damn it! Why'd you do that?
Basic idea. I'll just make dripping noises. So the basic idea was that I had to go to set very, very early one morning, like 4 a.m. was my pickup. So I left, and literally like 10, 15 minutes later, someone tried to get into the house, tried to get in the front door. So they obviously had seen me leave, tried the front door, couldn't get in the front door, went around the back. I'm assuming tried the other doors as well, and then found the garage was unlocked and then stole my bicycle and rummaged through a bunch of stuff that I had, including all of my unpacking. I had all these I go, whenever I can, I collect old printers and computers and stuff, and people donate them to me and stuff. And I wrap them all up in plastic to store them so that the kids can then take them apart later and there's not things living in them.
I lost my sound. Uh-oh. Hey, David, I don't think anybody can hear you. Hello? David, we lost your audio. Dude, we lost your audio. For some reason, you're not sending audio. I am getting no audio from you, sir. No audio. It just went away. Did your microphone die? Did your Zoom die? I think your Zoom might have died. Let's see, he's checking. Can you guys can hear me, right? I think we. Oh my God. Oh. Let's see. Let's give him a second. See if he can figure it out. Oh! I think he might have figured it out. What happened, David? What happened? Audio's just gone, right? So that's weird. Yeah, because I'd show nothing coming up here. Can you hear me, David? Yeah, he can't even hear me. Okay, he's gonna call back real quick. That was weird. That's never happened before. Here, he's gonna call back. Give him a second. That's weird. I've never seen that. Here. Check. Oh, hold on. I lost him. Here he's trying to figure it out. I think that was weird because I didn't touch anything when I left and his audio meter went off. So he's not sending me an audio signal. So I know it's on his side. So the Zoom call looks like Skype. It's not Zoom. I don't use Zoom. All right, let's see here. He's troubleshooting. How much did you guys hear of what he said when I left to go take a piss? Did his audio die right after I left to go take a piss, or did you hear most of what he's saying? Joseph David is trying to join us again, but he does have to leave here in a few minutes. He might even just leave now. Like, I know he's having technical difficulties, but you can still watch the stream. He was here from the very beginning. His audio died literally just as you sat down. It cut off when you sat down, right until you sat down. Yeah, and I still have full audio coming through my headset and everything. I didn't touch anything, so the channel is definitely not muted. System audio, I can still hear you guys like when you're super chatting and stuff. So it's definitely on his side. I think he's still troubleshooting it. All right, I just told him if he needs to, he can just take off. But I'm waiting to hear back from him, because he had to leave anyways. He had to leave like a minute ago, to go hang out with his son and everything. So let me see if he does a quick call back here. If he doesn't, then we'll continue on and wrap. Hey, Blue Paw Wolf, he said we heard to the point that the burglar had unlocked the things his kind was going to take apart. Oh, okay. So you did hear about like what happened to him. No, there is no plug. E. Carlson, there is no plug that you can move. So it's not the plug. Because I literally, like, the audio stream that he sends to me shows a visual indicator, and the visual indicator went away, and nothing he sends comes through a plug. It's all digital right to the sound stack. So he's not even involved. His audio stream coming in isn't even involved with anything. So I didn't disconnect anything. So nope, there's no mute button. The desktop audio source is showing. So, and I can still hear the dings and everything. I can even hear my feedback from my microphone. So I know I didn't bump the cable on this. You guys can still hear me through the microphone. So yeah, no, it's not on my side. We'll get it figured out though. Let's see here. Mika, thank you for the 2 CHFs. I've never had a CHF before. Thank you for that. Could you tell me like what currency that is in chat? Just tag me. Hey Sam, thank you for the $2. Sounds like the cable was disconnected. I wonder if he accidentally unplugged something on his side. I think it might be the Zoom. Because I know he uses a Zoom audio interface, so I wonder if the batteries went dead in it, if he doesn't have it plugged into the wall, or maybe he has it plugged into the power strip and the power strip was unplugged. Because I know that's what happened. Because he lost his audio from me too. So like you guys can hear me, he couldn't hear me, and his microphone wasn't working, and those both go into his Zoom. So I'm thinking it's probably Zoom related. So we'll see. I'm just waiting. I'm sure he's like trying to troubleshoot it. But he did have to go anyways, guys. So if he calls back, we'll go ahead and answer. But if he needs to go take care of family, let him go take care of family. Here in the meantime, I think I can switch. Where's my main scene here? Give me a second here. Let me see if I can find it. Is it this one? This one? And then is it like switch? Where's the transition button in this damn thing? There we go. Oh, there he is. We got him. Okay, hold on. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Oh
my God, that is so frustrating.
What happened?
So my Zoom reset. Like I have it's all monitoring fine. I can see all of I can see all the equalizer and everything. For some reason, it turned off monitoring. Like it has like a 2-hour limit on monitoring or something.
Okay.
And it just turned itself off. So that's just something now I know. And I also put my overlay on.
So everybody in the chat was like, "Oh, you unplugged something, Barnacules. You did something." I was like, "Nope, it's a Zoom," because I have a Zoom. So I've done that before. I've unplugged it. So
I was totally convinced it was you because I was like, "Well, it had to be. He got up. He moved things. I didn't touch anything."
Yeah, everybody said it happened right after I sat down. So they're like, "It's totally your fault, man. You did it." And I was like, "Man, I've had a Zoom before, and the thing that gave it away was you couldn't hear me."
Yeah, I can hear you.
So and I couldn't hear you, which meant that both problems were on your side, because you would have been able to hear me if I didn't hear you, if it was a mic problem on my side or if it was a headphone problem, and I can still hear myself. So I was like, oh my gosh. I'm usually wrong about that stuff though.
It's always me. That's how I know it's me. I know it's me because it's always.
Well, dude, I know that you got to go and take care of your family, but I'm glad you got to come back to say bye. So.
Well, no, I want to talk about the security stuff.
Oh, you do? Okay, no, please do. If you've got a little bit more time, please do. We'd love to hear it.
You're welcome to boot me out.
Hell no, because I don't want you to go. I'm just trying to give you every out I can.
The reality is my son doesn't really want me to stop, because then he stops video gaming and we go out and walk dogs and things. So that's probably
the truth. The truth shut you free. Shit you free. Set you free.
The truth is I'm just trying to be a good parent, but that I'm not very good at it. So, what have I got here? Did I have any? Let me see if I can get that overlay again, so I'm not flashing. Or are you not getting the flashing and winking and blinking that I've got going?
I cropped most of it out, so I think you're pretty good. I can actually crop out the bottom too. It's really easy on my side. Oh, you did it.
There you go.
Look at you. It's like you know what you're doing.
Dude, I'm slowly getting it. Slowly, very, very slowly. Yes, eventually I'll get it. I'll get it right. Why am I watching? I'm watching someone else's video, by the way. Apparently, you're not interesting enough. YouTube has decided to show me something else.
It does that a lot, actually.
It's no. I'm truly gonna be able to succeed in streaming now, because I'm being taught all about it. So I'm so sorry. So I babbled on, as always, with absolutely no sound. But the basic idea.
They said it died right after I sat down. So like right when you saw me sit down in the chair, that's when the audio died. So they heard most of what you said about like I think they said in chat that they left off where you were saying that the guy like unlocked some of your stuff.
Yeah, so basically, I have a bunch of stuff that I store in the garage that I keep for the tech bandits to take apart. But I wrap them in plastic because, as a child, I know what it's like if you open a box and a large spider crawls out. That's it for technology for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
right. So
fair point.
Right. So I wrap them in plastic, and so that they're not, so that nothing can get in there. These assholes actually went through and unpackaged like a bunch of them to see if there was anything worth stealing there. So
wow.
So they took their time, and then I guess they looked through the bikes and went, okay, I guess that apparently my bike from 10, 13 years ago, whatever it is still worth more than the one that they had out, which they left out front.
So they literally left their shitty bike and then like took yours?
They took my shit. They left their shitty bike.
Wow.
But the police actually came and looked for fingerprints. Apparently they didn't find any. I was like, maybe you didn't look that hard, but we'll see. Because they're plastic wrapped. Like all the boxes that they opened were wrapped in cellophane. Like it's the perfect.
So they took their time, like opening it and like looking at the stuff that's inside.
Yep, they unwrapped the stuff. They didn't have a knife, obviously, because they were like had to pull it apart. And of course they're like, man, that printer's from like 1,000 years ago. And oh look, there's a dead cockroach in this one. I mean, I'm sure they're probably like, they were probably quite disappointed. But they ended up stealing my bike. And I think more than anything, as you know, it's not even about the stuff, although that was my 40th birthday present. It's the trying to get in the front door, it's in the windows, and I'm going like there are days that I've staggered to bed late at night and forgotten to close the back door.
Yep.
Not but lock the back door, and I won't ever again now. The garage, we can lock it, but we haven't because we've got gates on both sides.
Yep.
I mean, and apparently they did the entire neighborhood. There was one woman who, while the guy was explaining why he was on the porch, apparently his friend stole her wallet from the house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like a bunch of jerks. Like, I mean, whatever. So,
and they always have an excuse too. That was my experience too. Like if they get caught, they're just like, oh, I thought this was my friend's house. Oh, I was coming over to pick something up off Craigslist. It's always something.
It was the wrong house. He said, just come in the back and grab your wallet. Whatever.
Exactly.
So he, but this brainiac walks up and tries to get in the front door. We've got a video camera. We've got a video doorbell. So he's on camera the whole time. So we just gave that to the police. And there's a couple other people on the street who also have cameras. So I'm sure they'll.
It looked like his face was fairly visible, like in one or two of the frames. But he had a mask, right?
It's enough to know. It's enough that if I see him hanging out anywhere around this neighborhood, I think I would recognize him. So I'm sort of like keeping an eye out. And and there's a bunch of little encampments around the neighborhood. I'm pretty sure he's homeless, and again, I sort of feel like I'm happy to help if someone needs help, I'll help them. But no, man, like that's like
no, and that's a scary. That's where it becomes creepy is when they try to gain access to the house. Yeah. It's like now you're entering into protected space, like.
And it was moments after I left, so he watched me leave, and then tried to get in.
Yeah, that's
and my dog didn't wake up, so that dog's got to go too.
Huzzah, the one time Huzzah isn't causing trouble and wrecking shit is like when you need Huzzah.
Well, remember when we were talking about dog breeding and the guy who was curing genetic diseases in Dalmatian and stuff? So that guy's David Ishii. And David Ishii tweeted me about this and said, if you want a guard dog, because he had like a home invasion. I
have too, yeah.
So this guy showed up with shotguns. He ran to get his, and when he came back, they saw he had a gun and was like, it's not worth it. They ran away. But since then, he started breeding these giant freaking dogs. So he has like killer dogs. He's like, do you want, maybe I could set you up with one.
Yeah, the dog barking scares, the intruders hate loud noises because it heightens your awareness when you're committing a crime. You get really sensitive.
If you're there to do no good, dogs are terrifying because you know what I mean? Like that's where, if you're there because you're a friend, I think you're less scared of dogs than if you were there as an enemy. Anyways, so it was, yes, that is Tom Baker's scarf on the back wall. Yes. It's not actually his. I wish it was his, but I was given it. It is one of the only ones I can wear because it's not wool. I'm allergic to wool, but I always wanted a Doctor Who scarf. They're all wool. So all these lovely fans will come up and go like, oh, here, I knitted this.
I didn't know you'd be allergic to wool. I always thought that was kind of like a hypoallergenic thing. Crazy.
Oh, no. Well, no, it's like, oh, yeah, it ain't pretty. But not lemons, weirdly, yes. So, yeah, you wanted to talk security because I got a bunch of these Wise cameras.
Yep. You're watching me on one right now. So this is this right here is a $25 camera that can be a security camera that's wireless, or it can be a powered USB webcam, depending on what firmware you put on it.
That's a really good image.
And it's got a magnetic base on it too. I know it doesn't look bad for $25. I mean, the frame rate's not flawless, but it's 1080p. It's $25 and it records audio too. Like you can get audio through it too. It's not great, but it works.
Huh. Well, I've got 3 of them coming.
Yep. And they run a long time off a battery too. Like if you get a USB battery pack, they run a long time.
I'm going to just wire them. I'm just going to put a couple on the garage, couple out back. And then as Baz says, he wants to have access to them all because he wants to be like sort of, I don't know, the overlord of some sort.
Yeah. I actually had a security audit of my house like 10 years ago because after being home invaded, like it changes everything.
With that, do you mind it? What's the?
Yeah. No. I can tell you like all this, a lot of stuff I've done. I won't talk about it all though, obviously, because I don't want people knowing exactly what's going on. But I'm heavily secured. Secured. If you get past every one of the countermeasures that tells you not to rob my house, you're probably going to get shot at that point if you're not 100% sure I'm not home. And that's not dictated by the cars, just FYI. So you save your life. Don't come in. But no, like the garage door, I have inside bolts that lock the garage door shut. They're retractable bolts, so that when the door is shut, you literally cannot force it. You'd have to drive a car into the door and key it into the building to get it open. You can't just like pull it open. Also, the release for the door, I cut the string off of it. You know the emergency pull that you have for the garage door, so you can open it. Cut that off. Or at least cut the bead off the end of it, because you don't want anything that a shimming attack can grab onto and pull through the gap. You want to make it short enough that they can't actually fish through the top of the garage door and grab it and pull it to pop your garage door. Because most criminals are going to use a entry that doesn't look suspicious. So if a cop drives by or something, they don't want to see a door just left open and the hinge broken. They don't want to see a window shattered out. They don't want to see like a garage door look like it was forced. So they try to use entry methods that look. That's why they try your door handle, because they're hoping the door's unlocked, because then they can just walk in and they can just be like, oh, it's the wrong house. They have a million excuses. They can close the door behind them. So it just looks like if somebody's driving by, they just see a person open the door, go in and close the door. That doesn't look suspicious. But if they're kicking in the door and they're banging their shoulder into it and they're ripping it off the hinges and there's like exposed wood and stuff, people are going to take notice of that. So they try to find those ways to enter. So I put cameras like everywhere. Every square inch of my property's cameras. I have access to my neighbor's cameras that see the entry and exits to the cul-de-sac and the walk path. So anybody that walks in or drives in, we've got their license plate. We can see them. If they try to do the hat down thing, it doesn't work because we have, I won't say where, but I have cameras that can get you even if you're looking at the ground.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, so what you do is take a camera and mount it right down on the edge of the door looking up, and then just lean something in front of it that's transparent, that's a little bit reflective. And when they walk up and they look down to avoid your obvious camera that you have there, they're looking right into your camera and don't know it. So you have a picture of their face. And I just give those to the police, and the police just drive around and pick the dude up. Like, that's happened twice now, where somebody's come up and tried to steal a package, and then they noticed my cameras, and then they put the package back down and walked off. And then I just sent the video to the cops, and they actually found the dude stealing packages off other people's porches. So, and they're able to use your video as evidence. So that's why it's good to have all this, but have lots of cameras, have fake cameras and real cameras, ones that are obvious and ones that are not, because they're always going to pay attention to the obvious ones. Right. So you want some of them to be obvious and some of them not to be obvious. Like, a really great place to put a camera is when you walk up on your porch where you have a pillar that they have to pass to get to your door. Put a camera on the backside of that pillar facing towards the door, because what they usually do when they steal a package or they do something is they turn around and they lift their head up to walk back to their vehicle, because the cameras are no longer facing them. As soon as they do that, you have a camera on the pillar right behind them that they didn't notice when they were walking up that just looks them right in the face.
Right.
And then they'll just set the package back down. I've had that happen twice now, where they actually had the package, they turned around, they look right in the camera, and they're like deer in the headlights, and then they set the package back down and they just walk off and hope that it didn't trigger anything. And so that's a wise cam's great for that, because and plus if they steal the cameras, they broadcast. So you have the video already by the time they rip off the camera. So even if they like hit it with a yeah. So offsite. So those are some really good tactics. The other thing too is put
cloud stuff. The cloud video, it puts it in the cloud.
For me, I actually store it on two NASs in my house, one hidden and one that's not. And I have an email that sends 5 pictures of the event, like not the whole video because it takes up too much space. But I send the five initial pictures of the event spaced out like 2 seconds. And those go up to an email that gets sent out so that it's archived on my mail server. So that's kind of my cloud storage.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it sends me a notification. So like,
this video, it's still stuck on the 12 seconds, or could you do as long as you want?
Oh, you can make it as long as you want. It'll fill up your Gmail really fast, especially if it's facing the street and you got a lot of kids that like run into your yard and trigger it all the time, or wildlife. Right. So you want to like limit the trigger zone of it depending on the software. Like I can trigger it, so I can make it to where it'll only trigger if it sees feet on my porch. That way it doesn't get a bunch of false triggers, but it still gets triggered all the time because like hummingbirds fly up to it and think it's like a food source. Spiders will crawl in front of it and trigger it. So
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I got pictures of literally like a spider just like mad dog in the lens because it's infrared, so they like the heat. So they just sit there and camp out on it. So you do have to clean them every now and again. But the other thing you do is if you don't want your front door forced, because they would rather break your front door off the hinge than to go in through a window, because to go in through a window, they usually have to break the window, and that's going to make a sound that's high pitched that carries. So what they're going to want to do is come in through your front door, just put their shoulder into it. And a lot of doors you can just force, with just brute force, just force it off the hinge. So what you want is like an 1.5 inch deadbolt or bigger that goes into the door frame with a metal sleeve, and then put 2 security pins on the hinges on the other side. That way the door can't be breached. So like literally the SWAT team would have a hard time taking my door off the hinges. And they're really cheap. All you do is you take take a screw out of each one of the hinges on the other side. Or you can even take 2 screws out if you want to make it more secure. And the pin basically just has a dowel on the back of it that goes into the hole on the door where the screw normally would go in to the bracket. And so when you close the door, you basically have these metal bars, just like a safe, that are going into your door so it can't be popped off the hinges on the other side. And they cost like $5. And so you put those on all your exterior doors.
They just shoot out of the back and then lock in as you go. Exactly. Oh, nice.
Exactly.
We just got a new front door. Thankfully, because the other one, I think you wouldn't even need to put a shoulder in it. You just basically try to open it.
Yeah, you should have a solid core front door, like either a metal door or a solid core where it's basically like it's got like a real solid wood inside of it. It's not hollow. You don't want a hollow exterior door. We've got
the full. We spent way too much on our front door.
Yep, and then for window attacks, like if you're worried about somebody breaking into a window, first of all, make sure all your windows, both stories, are on camera. Like make sure that you can see the entire perimeter of your house. If that doesn't track somebody and they still want to break into the house, then what you can do is get 3M film. It's basically like the shit you put on cars to protect them. And you basically put those over the panes on your windows, and you run a bead of silicone caulk along the outside. You can hit the thing with a sledgehammer and you can't get a hole through it. Like you have to literally rip the window out of the frame of the house to get in. And what's going to happen is they're going to try to break it, and they won't be able to. It'll be making too much noise and they'll run off. So you'll just come home and have a broken window, and they're just going to give up and run off. Because if they can't silently break that window and get in really quick, and they're having to spend 30, 40 seconds there beating on the window and trying to rip it off the frame, their stress level is going to go up and they're going to run.
And one of my neighbors is going to come out too, like for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some things that you can really do to protect yourself. And some of the things that you can do are more effective if you're in like a cul-de-sac with neighbors. Like for my neighbors, there's so many cameras that it's like I can even get footage of a car coming up the street that's adjacent to me. So even if they park out on the street and try to walk in with like a hood and a mask on, I can see them pulling up and get their license plate like, you know, a block away.
Well, because your neighbors have cams as well.
They do. Yeah, and we all can share access to each other's cameras, or the ones that don't want to share access, we just give them the time index that the event occurred because, you know, we have our own cameras and they can just go look at their footage and then email it to us. And so my neighbor had a scare where a gust of wind blew her front door open because it wasn't fully latched. And so she came home and her door was open and she was freaked out and she didn't want to go in the house. And she literally called me at like midnight and she's like, I'm sitting in my car outside. I think there might be somebody inside of my house. I was like, did you call the cops? She's like, can you check your footage really quick before I do that? And I pulled up my phone and I just rewound just a little bit. And I'm like, door open, door closed. And then I just fast forwarded a little bit until the door was open. And then you could clearly see that the wind just blew it open. And so that eased her mind and she's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. And she went in the house. I was like, why didn't you just call the cops though?
$60 a month for security.
Yeah, it's worth it to have a good security provider. It's the other thing is, like I was saying, if you're an online broadcaster and stuff, like get your cops to know your house, know the car you drive, know who you are. That can be really helpful if you're targeted by stalkers and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's ways that the idea is if somebody is really adamant about getting in, they're going to get in. Like if they will literally shape charge a hole out of your wall or cut it with a Sawzall if they want in that bad. But the thing is, usually they're trying to just steal shit, right? And if they're trying to steal shit, it is better to avoid the house that has like 50 cameras and reinforced windows and reinforced doors. Yeah. And make your house look like meth heads live there.
You could do that. That's true. My father used to spray paint his bikes to look rusty.
Oh, that's genius.
I know, but then your bike looks like shit the whole time.
That is true.
A really nice bike that would just look like shit the whole time.
What you need to do is just have a board with a picture of a bike on it that looks rusty, and then just lean the board against it from the road and hope people don't really like squint and look.
That's it. Yeah, or just like removable decals that you could just like stick on the. You peel them off before you go.
Yeah, and then the other thing is interior cameras. Have interior cameras facing your external doors and your windows where you can, like area cameras.
Oh man. That's what I want.
Yeah, because if somebody comes in through the door, the very first thing they do when they come through the door is they try to unhinder themselves so that they can see and move freely. So usually the first thing they do once they're inside of a house is they pull off their hood, they pull off their mask, everything, because they don't want anything hindering them because they have to do it really fast. They have to get through there and rifle through your stuff. So if you've got interior cameras and they're not completely obvious, you're going to record that person in their most vulnerable state running around and doing all kinds of stuff. And then if you want to, like one of the things that I do, but I don't like it because every once in a while it goes off because I forget to disarm the alarm, is get yourself an alarm siren that is louder than permanent damage to human hearing. It sucks when it goes off accidentally, but what it'll do is it does a sweeping sound that your neighbors can hear like a block away, but not only that, it disorients you really bad. So like when it goes off, it makes it really hard to think. It makes it really hard to focus because it does this sweeping sound where it hits a sweet spot in your eardrum and it literally feels like your ears are going to pop under the pressure if you're close to it. So if somebody comes into your house and that alarm goes off, they are going to go booking out the front door, tripping, falling over the steps, banging their head on the ground, and all your neighbors are going to run out of their house because they're going to be like, holy shit, is there an air raid coming from like Iwo Jima? Like there's lots of things you can do.
I'd almost like that as the button, like where you go, okay, you know what? There is someone in the house. Bang, hit that.
Like a panic alarm.
Because otherwise, I would spend the entire time because I'm just such an anxious soul. I would spend the entire time worrying that I was going to set the alarm off the entire time. Yep. Like that's my problem with alarm systems, which I guess we may consider now. I don't know, but luckily we got the dog. That helps a huge amount because, frankly, as we said, dogs scare the crap out of people trying to steal stuff. And I think honestly, Huzzah is not. Huzzah, I joke about Huzzah being a bit of a softie, but the reality is, yes, she is. But if she doesn't know you, like she scared the crap out of a couple of friends of mine because she didn't know who they were, and she's like, "You were in my backyard. I don't know who you are." So it was like,
dogs are good.
Target command alarm, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
it's called Geizo siren. Oh, really? So it's just vibrating at such a high frequency.
Yeah, it does like a sweep, almost like a police siren, but way louder. Like way louder. Like it's literally makes it uncomfortable. Like it hits a pitch where you feel like you stuck Q-tips too far in your ears.
Oh God.
Like it's literally painful. So
Q-tips stuck up their nose 50 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think it's like, what is it, like 140 dB or 160 dB? I mean, it literally, if you don't put your fingers in your ears, your ears will be ringing for hours.
And what about like a light that blinds them and makes them sick?
You can get strobes. Like that's another thing. Have you ever tried to move in the presence of a really bright strobe light?
No, it's almost impossible.
It fucks up your whole like eye. Like your eyes tell your brain lies, and you feel like you're moving in slow motion. Yeah, you can get those. Those are available for security systems, and if you put one near the front door and towards the main room entering the house, like the main areas, it's going to be really hard for them to like move around and rifle. Even if sunlight's out, you can get them so bright that even with the sunlight, the flash of it will still dim you to absolute darkness. Now those I haven't got one of those because I don't need it. I guarantee you the siren, anybody that comes in is going to just like flip their shit and get out. Because like every time I've accidentally set it off, my neighbors are like text messaging me and they're out on their porch and stuff. So
really?
So yeah, a loud siren is much more practical.
I'm almost more scared of pissing off my neighbors than I am of actually getting robbed.
No, you want to piss off your neighbors though. That is the best thing you can do. You want as many eyes. You literally want your neighbors like storming over to your house, pissed off while that dude's rifling around your house.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true.
And then you just buy them.
Damn alarm's going off. Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true. Like you do want to piss off because once you explain, like nobody can be mad at you.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to be mad at you that somebody broke into the house and you managed to get them so pissed off that they come over and actually give a shit and they'll just ignore it like a car alarm, right? Everybody ignores car alarms because they go off so easy.
Too.
What's that?
I've heard like house alarms going off here. Not so much house alarms as because we back onto an alley and then there's a main street. And it's surprisingly quiet. I was amazed at how quiet it is. But every so often we'll hear like a business alarm go off because someone's, someone's drunk has tried to take out a door or something. You know what I mean?
Well, what's really good about
great for that, yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that's really great about alarms though is people that are intruders, they want to be able to hear if somebody's coming in the house or they want to hear if there's somebody in a room. They're very spooked, like they're heightened sensitivity, right? If you're robbing somebody's house, you are scared that somebody's going to walk in on you. So when the alarm goes off, it kills all their senses and they can't tell it. They're not even gonna be able to tell if there's a cop in the room behind them. So they usually just abort and they run away. I've seen where people have just breached a door and the alarm goes off by like a 5-second delay and you just see the person booking it out the front of the door, like tripping and shit. Like even with a regular sounding siren, because it's like anything that inhibits them from being able to hear their surroundings freaks them out and they run.
Yeah.
So it's like you can play on people's instincts when they're doing that because the second that they go into a house, their adrenaline's running. They are super hypersensitive to a lot of things. So you want to play on that.
Yeah. And then that would freak them out even more.
Yeah. And it's not hard to rifle through a house and find shit when you have like a siren hurting your ears. You see cameras like everywhere. You have a sign on your wall that's like a cheeky bastard that's like smile, you're on camera. I got one of those in my garage.
No, like do you let people know that you've got cameras?
Yeah. No, I have all over my property. I have signs that say that this because for legal reasons, recording outside of my house, I have to tell them where I'm recording. So I do have signs that say that this entire property is under closed caption. And I do have the smile, you're on camera, and all the windows have the thing, alerting them that they know. That way, if there's ever any legal problem, or they're claiming that I'm recording them illegally, I can say, no, it's actually it's stated, like it's publicly stated. Right. I don't have to tell them where the cameras are though. And the cameras that they always look into are the ones they can't see. So like, it's never the camera that's over the door that gets them because they always got their head down. It's always when they turn around or they look down and you see them. And sometimes they don't even see the camera. Sometimes they don't. They'll literally just try the door.
I was surprised this guy didn't notice the doorbell because it's a freaking giant Ring doorbell. I didn't do the Ring ones because I'm just such a cheap bastard. They're so expensive.
He probably thought it was fake because there's a lot of people that just put fake cameras on their house. Like that's the easiest thing to do is just go buy a bunch and it's effective. Like go buy a bunch of those, like they're $9. You put a 9-volt battery in them. It's got a fake camera with a red light blinking, like a dome camera. Stick those all over the place. The criminal just doesn't want to take the chance. But the thing is, he probably, by the time he identified your camera, though, and he saw it, he was probably already there, and he figured he was boned. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it's better for them to know earlier, because then they're going to make a conscious decision, right? So he probably just didn't recognize it. But I see people, they rob people with Ring doorbells all the time. Like, they don't care, right? If you're all methed up and you want to steal something, that's when the alarm is really effective, right? Because if you're like tripping balls and you're heightened on adrenaline and stuff.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, you're going to trip and bust your neck, You're going to come home with a corpse on your front porch.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I love Mark Rober is because of that. That great glitter bomb. Oh my God.
Greatest thing ever.
By the way, got to recommend for you. I watched Spies in Disguise last night. I did not want to.
Spies in Disguise? I haven't even heard of it. What is it?
Is it Disguise? Yeah, I think it's Spies in Disguise. It's a new animated one. You'll love it. Watch it with a kid. I did not want to watch it. I was like, oh, come on, Baz, grow the F up and let's watch something on Shudder. Let's watch like a freaking horror movie or something. No. Makes us watch Spies in Disguise. And you know what? It was really fun.
That's awesome.
Silly. And it has like silly gadgets in it and stuff. But one of them is the glitter bomb. And then what did he call it? Oh, man. And he had some great names for it. I can't remember what it was now. But there was they're just like little plays on words for all the different things he does. Because they're all non-lethal.
Yeah.
They're all stuff. And it's Tom Holland, who I love. I think he's one of the best actors out there now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's an animated one. It's Will Smith and Tom Holland, and it's really fun.
How have
really
I not heard of this? What's it on?
I think it was on. What was it on? I feel like it was on either Netflix or Prime or it may have been on our local Bell thing or whatever it is.
I'll check because I have like every streaming service and I haven't seen it yet, but that doesn't mean nothing. There's like Netflix has like 50 new episodes or 50 new series a day.
Oh, I know. I can't keep track. Honestly, it's like I'm getting to the point where I'm watching. I only ever watch horror now, or I watched It 2. It took me 4 different sittings to finish It 2.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh God, it's awful. Like it's just it's like so. It's like you just want to go. It's like I was like, oh God, Hollywood has just got to be so embarrassed. How do you take something that was so like the first one? The first one was like fun. It wasn't groundbreaking.
That's the one with the clown, right? The clown alien thing. Okay,
some interesting stuff. And then this one was like, I was like, oh my God, they're going to talk us through everything, like literally every single aspect. They wrecked it. It's so true.
Oh man, I haven't seen it yet because my wife hates horror anything, so I have to watch it by myself. And I'm one of those people where it's like I don't like to watch movies by myself. Like I like to have somebody else there, right? So I miss a lot of stuff. Like we watched The Boys. We watched The Boys last night, and I had to turn it off after he like crushed the person's head because it was just too gory. And she's like, "Yeah, you know, I loved Boys season 1, but they're pushing it way too far in season 2." And I'm like, "No, this is great. That's what I like about it. I like the fact that it is just."
I prefer season 2. I got to say, I found season 1 it was struggling to find itself, but season 2 I've just been loving it.
They pretty much made season 1 look like PG-13.
I'm telling you, watch Chef's Table Barbecue.
I did see that on Netflix.
Oh my God. It's brilliant. Like it's gorgeous. Like it's just I honestly think it's one of the best things on there. And it's like the last thing I was like, we're watching a cooking show? Ah, come on, this stupid democracy in my house. I want a damn fascist dictatorship. But no, it turns out it's a freaking democracy and we're watching some barbecue show. It was so beautiful. And the stories, like they just get into like these chefs and what their lives were like. And man, it was just absolutely loved it.
I'll watch it tonight. I'll watch it. Absolutely.
I feel like the barbecue ones too, because it's just all about like guys who like or women who are like cooking barbecue over oil barrels in the middle of like Louisiana and stuff. Like it's just like really cool.
No, so. that's up my alley. Like I like cooking shows. Like I watched like I loved the one that had Alton Brown in it. What was that called? That was great.
With all the molecular gastronomy and all that kind of stuff.
That one, but I'm also talking about the one where they battled. The two chefs battled it out.
Oh yeah. What was that one?
What was that called? Chef Wars or Top Chef? It was Top Chef.
Was it Top Chef? Is that?
I thought it was Top Chef. Was it Top Chef? But Good Eats. I loved Good Eats.
I liked Master Chef as well. We really enjoyed that.
It was Iron Chef. I was way wrong. It's Iron Chef.
Oh, Iron Chef's fantastic.
That was a great show. So I love it when they put like they add drama into something that you wouldn't think there'd be any drama. Like that's a good recipe.
Learning something by accident along the way, I like too.
Hey, Marty Lewis, thank you for the 5 A's. He gave me 5. I'm guessing that's Australian dollars. He said, David, did you read the leaked script for the continuation of SGA where Atlantis is returned to Pegasus?
I think I got sent the script. I read something. I read the movie. Is that what they mean? Is that the leaked script? I mean, there's a movie.
I know nothing. There's a leaked script.
Like, I didn't anybody. We're like, see you in 6 months. There's a leaked script. I don't know. Like, I didn't leak it. Where did they leak it?
I like how he immediately jumps to that. He's like, oh God, I didn't leak it. Don't get me. Don't come get me, production team. Hey, Corey, thank you for the $5. He said, David needs to get Jerry as an extra on one of his projects. I want to be a tech bandit, man.
You do not want to be an extra. Jesus. No, like, the background performers are just like, there's like a class system on set. And I hate the way background are treated. It's one of those things where I go out of my way to say hi to them specific. I'll say hi to the background in some cases before I say hi to the director, because I just feel so. I did background performing when I very first started. I was a background performer in a World War I show here, and it was the most miserable experience of my life. I basically thought, if that's acting, I'm out.
Wow.
Like, oh God. Well, it was about like soldiers in trenches. So how do they do it? They put us in like wool suits, which of course I'm allergic to, and then they put us in trenches. And then it was the middle of August, and people were fainting and throwing up, and I was like, this is so horrible. This is war. Like it was like there was no acting required. I was just like I was like 16 and miserable.
Wow.
Oh God, it was awful.
Not a good acting gig.
No, and then I went to go. They're like, I went up to get something to drink because I was really thirsty. I just went up to get some water. They're like, no, that's not for background. Background goes over there. And there's like a rusty pipe, and it was like, it was. Yeah.
Hey, Thomas King in chat keeps saying this, and I usually don't pander to people that keep posting the same thing, but he's been pretty good about not spamming it. So he said, dude, make him say, thank goodness I remember DOS.
What am I, a monkey? Dance, monkey, dance? Is that what it is? Thank goodness I remember DOS.
What is that even from? Is that one of your lines?
Thank goodness I remember DOS. But yeah, because something was like DOS-like in its programming. 30 minutes. It took 30 minutes. Thank goodness I remember DOS. I do remember. The sad thing is I do remember DOS. Like I do too. I loved DOS. The command line, that was a thing of beauty. I had before Microsoft, I had what was it? I had the digital research DOS. Was it DR DOS? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Dr. DOS.
DR DOS. DR DOS was the first one I had. Dr. DOS, as I used to call it.
Oh, you poor bastard. Like nothing worked with it either. It was like so off from Microsoft compatibility. I loved it. Because it was like, to me, it was like, that was like that was like cyberspace opening up, except it wasn't because we weren't actually networked. But I just loved that I loved the batch files and the system files. Oh God, it was so much fun. I still use it today. I still write batch files, although now they're CMD files, but same difference. Really? I don't do any of that anymore. I guess because I'm on this stupid Mac, and I've got the PC. Whatever. I'm not going down this road again. All right, I better brag. I better go be a parent. All right, man. Get after do the parent, and thank you so much again for co-hosting, since AuxxZillary had to move into his new shiny abode. So next time we see him, he's going to be in a new house. Move, buddy. Good luck. That is like, what does it say? It's like death, divorce, and moving are the three most stressful things. I agree with that. I technically agree. And being an internet personality, that's up there. That's definitely up there. And like, my life. It's one of the greatest regrets. All right, give. Also say, wait, this hat. I have to admit, this hat. The Code Cadet. Gave me the hat. Code Cadets. Amazing bunch of well, it's a guy who runs a group of he runs a program for students where they do all sorts of like tech trips and. Where can they find him? Does he got a website? I think it's Code Cadet. Isn't it not Codecadets something? What does it say on it? Let's make sure we get that one right. Code. I feel bad. Like I should know this. Codecadets.com. There you go. Yeah, it's codecadets.com. There you go. It's on the back of the hat. From Canberra Grammar School? That's it. That's the one. All right, we got it. I'm going to go ahead and link that in chat, guys. Please go check that out and bookmark it. They're a great bunch, and if anyone's in tech, they contact you to have the kids come by, let them do it, because it's. I did a little Q&A with them, and they were just great. And they put me in touch with another. They're the guys who put me in touch with that little hacking site where you learn how to hack by hacking their computers. That's cool. It's so much fun. Unfortunately, all my kids are a bit young and don't want to do it yet. But I've been doing it. You just need to make it a game. That's true. Or give them like money at the end of it or something. I mean, that works too. David, thank you once again for filling in for old AuxxZillary. Well, he's doing other stuff. He will be back next week though, guys. Sure. And hold on, I might forget anything. Yeah, we will be back again next Saturday. David is always welcome to join us anytime he wants. So feel free, if you're bored one day and you want to pop in midstream, just let me know, dude. Just hit me up. And let's see, hold on. Okay, so next week, 10 a.m. Saturday, same bad time, same bad place. Again, David, thank you for joining us. You have yourself a wonderful day. Tell Baz I said hi, and give Huzzah a little scratch behind the ear if he's not chewing on cables or something for me. I shall indeed. All right, man. Thanks, everybody. Take it easy, man. I have no idea how to hang up. I'll be like, well, here, I'll do it for you. It's like the girlfriend thing, right? Here you go. It is, yeah. And he's frozen. God, that is so much fun, man. He is a riot to hang out with, guys. It's fun when you can find somebody who clicks like that. So no, that's great. I'm sad that Houston didn't get to join us today, or AuxxZillary, aka Houston. I hope that his move-in goes smoothly and everything gets set up so he can be back next week, because the three of us, man, we have a blast. It is this is great. I've never had more fun doing Tech Talk ever. Period. This is just great. Hey, Corey Gibson, thank you for that $5 super chat. He said, David needs to get, I already read that one. Jared needs to get me as an extra on set. Well, I don't even think I can travel into Canada right now, honestly. I think with the COVID stuff, I don't know. Is the border still closed or is it open? I honestly don't know at this point, guys. I really don't. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up though on the stream, because one, I'm all by my lonesome, and two, I do have to leave because I'm going to see my old boss from Microsoft. I haven't hung out with him in a very, very long time because of the old COVIDs. I don't think I've seen him in about 4.5 months. So we're going to go up and have a little socially distanced coffee and donut session for an hour or two. So I'm going to head up that way because I need to get out of this house before it fucking kills me. Like, if I stay in this house any longer without getting out, I am going to get so big I'm not going to fit through the doorway. I'm not going to fit in my car. I almost don't even fit in my car anymore. So I got to go do something. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my goal for today. Get out, go do something for a while, and then I'll be back. But I will see you guys again. I don't know if I'm streaming again tomorrow because I try not to stream 3 days in a row. So expect me probably Monday. So Monday, you're probably going to see me over on Twitch TV/Barnacules. So make sure you're following me over on Twitch also. That's where I stream more than anywhere, if you guys didn't know, if that's news to you. And I want to thank the 728 people that are still with us right now. Thank you for all those super chats. I still share them with Houston. We split it down the middle. Even when he's not here, I don't even care. It's like, it's our show. So I want to thank you guys on behalf of him and myself for that support, because it keeps us going. And you guys have a fantastic, amazing day. You better, or I'm going to be pissed. And you don't want to see me when I'm angry. Well, actually, you see me when I'm angry all the time. What the fuck am I talking about? All right, talk to you guys later.